Welcome to another episode of Lost in the Script TV Post-Mortem, the Post-Mortem, episode 176. Pretty obvious what we're going to be talking about today. What up, Regina? Sorry I'm a little late. Peace, Duke in the chat. Shout out to y'all. Welcome everybody that comes in. Oh man, the election came and went, and I didn't think it would go this way. I can't lie. Paying attention to the campaign and what happened. We're gonna get into it though. A lot to get to, a lot more, as always, the last couple of weeks at least. A lot more politics to talk. Please forgive me. I'm a little under the weather, but I wanted to do it today. I'm not under the weather enough to not do it, so I decided to go ahead and do it, but I'm a little under the weather, so please be patient with me. Anyway, we're gonna get to this politics. We're gonna get to some other stuff. We lost some legends in our culture in the last couple of days. We're gonna get to that. Matter of fact, we're gonna start with that probably. Hold on, y'all. Just give me a second. All right. Go ahead and get right into it. Quincy Jones, Grammy-winning producer for Michael Jackson and film composer, dies at 91. So rest in peace to Quincy Jones, a legend, one of the most important musical figures ever. I always, whenever I think about Quincy Jones, other than his career, obviously, I think about one of the last interviews he gave, where he gave some very honest opinions on certain people, whether it be Michael Jackson, Trump, and all those other people. He's the one that brought out the Richard Pryor, Marlon Brando situation. He came out and said that he dated Ivanka Trump back in 2006, I believe it was. He said he was like 75 and she was in her early 20s. And every time I think about that interview, I just think, man, imagine if you had an interviewer who knew what questions to really ask. Because if you look at that interview and you listen to it, or you read it, should I say, you realize there was a lot of questions that weren't asked that if he would have given an answer to. So, rest in peace to him, a legend. Honorable. Hey, black people, how you doing, Honorable? I want to show another person too, unfortunately, that we lost recently.
It was a pretty.
I want to show this right here. Hold on, y'all. All right. Let me show this. Okay. We also lost, outside of Quincy Jones recently, Tony Todd, the very well-known for the movie Candyman and Final Destination. Tony Todd dies, Candyman star whose hundreds of credits include Final Destination films and Platoon. He was 69 years old, so rest in peace to him. Condolences to his family. And I'll say his voice is one of the more iconic voices, especially when you talk about the horror or the thriller genre. So they're going to take a big hit there, and rest in peace to him. And he did do one movie I'm not going to bring up that was kind of crazy. He did some he did some freaky movies as well. Not nothing too lewd, but yeah. He definitely was into that thespian. He did a lot of foreign films as well as obviously a lot of films based in horror and American cinema. So rest in peace to him too, another legend. Now let me show this because this brother right here went viral a few weeks ago because he's at his age and he looked like he's in great shape. But now he's coming out and he's giving some some insight into the industry, or Hollywood, should I say.
Pretty wild parties, but I would be at a party and I had friends who would come up to me and say, hey, Ernie, you might want to leave now. And I go, really? What? And they said, no, you might want to leave. And I
Anima says, rip to Tony. Quincy will not be missed. Can join the Great White Heat 35.
I would always leave. And then I find out later there was some weird stuff going on and people, whatever. And I'm like, so I always had people who kind of looked out for me, especially back in the day, and people would just kind of, pull my coat. Now, if I had ignored that and stayed till the midnight hour, but
and you could be having a lawsuit against you.
I've never, and then I also found I don't like to sort of insert myself. I was doing a movie called Weeds in North Carolina many years ago, and I think I'm friendly, but everybody would sort of get together and go to lunch, and they never would invite me. And I was like, I wonder, so
you weren't part of the club. You weren't initiated yet.
So one day I said, hey, you guys going to lunch? They said, yeah. I said, I'll come along. So I invited myself. And then I got in the car, and they pull out every drug you can imagine. And I'm sitting there, and I can't, first off, I don't want to do it, but I definitely can't work. We're just going to lunch. We got to come back and work. And so I was like, no, thank you. But I know I'm ruining their high. So I go, no, if I'm not invited, leave it alone.
Right.
I've heard stories of things going on the Ghostbusters set. I'm like, you know what? I was there. I ain't seen nothing. So they didn't invite me in the back room. So
stay in the cut, black man. Stay in the cut. If you're not invited, don't try to invite yourself. And try your best to stay out of those industry parties, man. Now let's go ahead and jump right into politics. We're not going to go straight to the election. I want to start on a slightly local level because it's leading to another story that's growing right now, where the Democratic Party already have a couple candidates they're trying to push. And it tells me that they're probably, the messaging I'm getting and the reaction I'm getting from this Trump victory tells me that they're probably not going to do very well in the midterms or in 2028 either. I will say this. The greatest thing that happened so far that come from this election is we can finally move past the black and brown coalition shit. We can finally move past this political bullshit alliance that's been fluffed up for the last 60 years or whatever. We can now say that this is fake. It's not real. This is all fake. Let me run through a couple of these stories. I'm going to focus a little bit more on California, though, because there's a lot going on there. Battle between Latino and Asian political candidates could reshape LA's Eastside. Now, for the most part, you rarely see any strife or beef politically, especially between these two demographics. But because LA's demographics is changing so much, particularly with the amount of Hispanics that's coming in or Latinos that's coming in, it's already pushed a lot of the black people out politically, as it will continue to do. But now we know there's also a nice sized Asian population in places like San Francisco and all that stuff, and other places in California, that we're going to see more. we already saw the Asian separation, linear separation, where the Chinese and the Japanese and all them didn't want to be linked into just Asian politically. We saw it with the Latino, or we're going to continue to see it grow a little bit more with the Latino. We saw it with the MENA. We saw it with all these other demographics. The last one to do it really is the black people who are just now starting to get to it. Honestly, I think they lose the next 3 elections unless some unknown individual is introduced. Oh, no, it's not an unknown individual. To me, at least, it is one candidate, and I already said Wes Moore. That is the person they're betting on becoming a superstar candidate for them. Let me move on. These California counties flipped from blue to red this election season. So I'm just going to show the map. Hold on. I think I got it right here. Now, historically, or at least in the last 4, 5 elections, California has been considered super blue. No Republican has a chance to win the election. California is considered a blue state. It's not considered a purple state or whatever. Battleground. But historically, California was Republican at one point. When you go back to all these Hollywood figures, John Wayne and Reagan was a Hollywood person, California was red then. So when I see the growth in the quote unquote red wave in California, I'm not surprised. We always hear about the certain places in California being very racial, certain places that black people, almost a sundown town almost, not quite that, but there are certain places in California that the black people know you don't want to be caught there at the wrong time. I'm saying push another ADOS candidate, push another ADOS ain't going to help them. We'll get to that later. Now, Nina Turner put this out. There was a vote that happened on prohibit slavery and involuntary servitude. This proposed amendment in California's constitution would bar slavery in any form and repeal a current provision allowing involuntary servitude as a punishment for a crime. California voted against ending that. Now, Nevada, which is a red state, voted to get rid of that. So basically, California, we know this was associated with Kamala Harris, where she would use prison labor, free prison labor, to do certain things in the state, whether it be in fires or use them as firefighters or whatever, all type of other stuff. So California voted to keep that measure. The liberal state, by the way, this is what Nevada did, who voted against keeping it. So now, another one here, voters recall progressive Bay Area prosecutor. Alameda County District Attorney Pamela Price was an outspoken advocate for police reform in California. I'm showing this to show the red wave that happened in just California, where because of what the stuff they put into place during the pandemic, where they were allowing people to steal up to $1,000 of goods, and the police weren't called, and you couldn't stop them from stealing. There's a backlash against that now, where you have people getting rid of all those people who push those policies, and they're asking for pretty much law and order now. They're asking for law and order, the voters. Quick story, ex-Louisville police officer guilty of violating Taylor Swift's civil rights. Also, he was found guilty for this, civil rights, violating his civil rights. Congratulations. A jury on Friday found former Louisville police officer Brett Hankerson guilty of violating Breonna Taylor's civil rights during a fatal botched police raid and retrial of the federal case against him. Just an update on that. Now I'm going to get back to the politics. I apologize. Now, during the California Reparations Task Force, what up, Ashley? Shalom, shalom. During that whole push, where they were giving Galvin Newsom credit for trying to push reparations, as they said, and in the final hours, it was NAACP, the local chapter, and Newsom who nuked this reparations plan in general. They nuked it. And a lot of people believe that either one, he did it because he didn't want Kamala Harris to have to deal with the fact that California just pushed a reparations bill, right? And then now she got to answer the question, do you support a reparations bill? Or he was purposely doing this to sabotage her. I don't know. But it also might have hurt his chances in the future, as I want to get to. But now the NAACP, who helped tank that, are saying that they're announcing a $200 million fund to support black businesses as part of a reparative and economic justice initiative. The NAACP launched a $200 million initiative to restore the economy through black businesses. The NAACP has launched a $2 million for the new NAACP Capital Fund is targeted investment in the future of black businesses aimed at closing the racial wealth gap and addressing the funding challenges that many black-owned businesses encounter. What I'm only reading this to say, this is just regurgitated, same old, and this is another way for them to try to spin what happened back a couple months ago. This woman right here was a woman who was a part of that reparations task force. How is black defined for the fund? It's the NAACP, so I'm sure they consider anybody who's of quote unquote African descent as a part of it. This woman right here, I'm showing this because I remember during the fallout after the end of that reparative stuff they was doing, that one of the people that was protesting even said, this is going to come back on y'all for not giving us reparations. And a lot of the councilmen and councilwomen were laughing and mocking them. She now lost her race. So I see a lot of them celebrating. She was laughing then, but now she up out of there. And I'm getting to a point with that. Just hold on. The first black mayor of Tulsa, I'm pointing that out because we know Tulsa, the place where you had the race riot, and then they denied the reparations claim, denied all that stuff. Then they put out an apology, and now they have a black mayor. We'll see if that make any difference. Newsom calls special session to fund California's legal defense against Trump. So in preparation for Donald Trump becoming president, he wants to, quote unquote, Trump-proof California. He's putting funds towards it. So this is an obvious case of him, them thinking that Trump is going to come in and do something so extreme. I don't think he will. He's going to do the same thing he did 4 years. He was already president before. They acting like he was never president. So Gavin Newsom is asking California lawmakers to increase state funding for litigation against the incoming Trump administration. California anticipates that Trump will seek to limit access to abortion, dismantle environmental protections, and withhold federal disaster response funding. Now, if I'm not mistaken, it was Trump that said he wants the abortion rights to be a state level, handled on a state level. It was. So why do they think he's going to come after even more? Now, he might, because as I said, the whole abortion, affirmative action, and all these things they are going after is not necessarily to go after black people. It's to go after white women. I've been saying it for the longest. They're trying to get white women in order to try and sustain their population. The numbers are shrinking. That's why they brought in all the immigrants, which we'll get to that later. And they need more people. They're trying to get rid of certain things in the educational. They're trying to. He threatened to get rid of the education funding because they're trying to stop funding the quote unquote woke stuff that they talk about. Breen says, I'm here listening, putting up a ceiling and a new fan in my wife's office. Almost finished. All right, congratulations. Nice being handy around the house, man. Oh, sorry, around the office, apologize. But yeah, Newsom preemptive strike signals the return to hostile relationship between Democratic-controlled California and the Trump administration, a feud that was hallmarked in the Republicans' first term. Now, Arnold says, people in blue states talking about abortion topics are the most annoying. This is even a real issue. And that's the part that's crazy. They already voted on it locally. Only places that I saw actually failed was like Florida, Texas. But every other place, a lot of Republicans voted for abortion. Mark, what up? What up, Mark? So this right quick. Quick story. I'm gonna jump to the Trump stuff now. Los Angeles County increases reward to $25,000 for information in decade-old death of Matrice Richardson. We brought this story up a couple months ago, actually, where there was a story of this black woman who allegedly had some mental issues. She had a mental breakdown. She was arrested. And instead of holding her, they allowed her to just walk out. They impounded her vehicle, kept her phone and all her belongings, released her into the streets where she was found later deceased. Some people believe that it was the police that did it. They still have no answer to what happened to her in her death. So now they're increased the reward to $25K. $25K. That's crazy. She was in police custody, and y'all don't know what happened to her because y'all just released her into the streets without her phone, anything. It's crazy. But this is the Newsom. I'm pointing this out for a reason, because they're about to start pushing Gavin Newsom as the candidate, and I just still think that's stupid. Let me move forward. All right, we can just move forward from all this. I'm gonna say Rip Matrice, the first black woman Kamala used to get elected. Yeah, that's another thing that people was bringing up with her was how she was pretty much used as a used to as a lightning rod for her. All right, hold on. Let me get to this part right here. All right. Donald Trump returns to power, ushering in new era of uncertainty. That's what the New York Times said. On election night, as everybody else was doing, I was watching, and I just kept thinking about 2020. Because if y'all remember in 2020, Donald Trump was up on Biden. He was up in the numbers in Pennsylvania, in Michigan, all these places. And then randomly they said they're going to stop counting the votes at 12 and they'll resume in the morning. So a lot of people went to sleep. And around 3 a.m., some people who were still up at that time, the numbers just completely shifted. And all of a sudden, we woke up the next morning and Biden was in complete control of the election, and he pretty much was winning all those. He won Georgia. He lost North Carolina, but he won Georgia, Pennsylvania, all these places. He flipped a couple places, a couple counties. And everybody was in shock because going into that Trump Biden election, I had every belief that Trump was going to wash them and blow them out. When you look at all their rallies, you look at the amount of attention that was given to each candidate and how Biden was struggling, and he was already struggling with his mental capacity and all the other stuff. But somehow Biden won with 81 million votes. And now you look at this election and things, the numbers at least, look normal again. Let me just jump through this. Right after the election, we saw the Harris people, the Democrats, began to blame all type of demographics. What up, Pop? Yeah, Biden got the most votes in U.S. history. Get the fuck out of here with that bullshit. We're going to get to those numbers again. So the Harris-Biden camps blame each other for the loss. I've seen so many stories. I've seen people say that Biden, when he was forced to drop out, immediately endorsed Kamala. We now know that the Democrats did not want Kamala Harris. We know for a fact now that the party did not want her to run. That Biden may have did a FU to the whole party by endorsing Kamala Harris. So by the sitting president endorsing the vice president, it was very hard for the party to go against her because she was pushing herself as a black woman, and you don't want to upset your black female base. So we know Obama did not want her. Obama months ago pretty much said at least, we're going to lose the election, but we can win seats in the House and in the Senate. Let's focus on the state elections and not focus on the national election for Biden. Let Trump win that, and we'll just gain the House and more the Senate and stuff. They decided no, we have to go with Kamala. We heard what AOC said. AOC came out and said that they don't really like Kamala. That's why they're not endorsing her. They were forced to anyway. And now you see what happened. Obama seemed to have been correct. In response to Trump's decisive victory, aides in both camps are blaming one another for being more responsible, according to interviews with more than a dozen people in the White House and Harris's campaign. What are they saying? One Democrat familiar with the White House dynamics pointed a finger at Mike and Steve, Biden's top political aides. Mike and Steve, who will have a lot of answer for having to run for re-election at an 80-year-old. Honorable says, I hate the 100-day campaign narrative they run with as if Kamala didn't fail in 2020. Exactly. And that's the first thing they brought up right here, where they're saying, because Biden announced that he was going to run for a second bid, it messed the party up, which I actually agree with him. I don't know how they even let him come out and say that, but he was a president that can't come out publicly against him. But when he announced that he was running for a re-election, they should have never let that happen. Now, as Honorable said, now they're giving that excuse that Kamala only had 100 days to campaign. It's like, well, we have to understand, long before they came to the conclusion they needed to get rid of Biden, because we know for most of those interviews or interviews that he was doing or debates that he was doing before that final Trump-Biden debate, they was juicing him up on drugs like crazy. At all his rallies, all that other stuff, he was on drugs, obviously. He was doped up. They decided not to do it for the Trump debate because they knew what they were going to do anyway. If you think that the donors didn't know long before Kamala was chosen, months before, if they didn't know that he was already going to drop out and bring Kamala in, and we're all, come on, it's kind of obvious. They don't make any decision without letting the donors know. And I said they should have let people choose his replacement. Well, they couldn't do that because they knew when she was chosen as VP that they wanted her to be the president. We heard what the former president said, where he said the only way we're going to get a female president is if she's nominated with a male president, he dies and she gets in, which is a theory I thought might have been true for a long time, but they decided not to go that route. All right, let's jump forward. Uh, ESPN host blames Michelle Obama for Kamala Harris' annihilation.
Let me tell you, in any other profession or arena, Trump's track record and amoral character would be embarrassing, shameful, and disqualifying. So,
by the way, I'm seeing a lot of people ask this question. Do y'all believe Michelle Obama would have beaten Trump?
I hope that you will forgive me if I am
Regina said, I didn't get a nose today, LOL, and shake my head. That's how they do it, Regina.
worried that we will blow this opportunity to finally turn the page on the ugliness once and for all.
Now, one of the campaign slogans they were using were "Turn the page." The problem with that is every time Kamala Harris was asked if she would do the same thing as what's the difference between her and Biden, she would say nothing. She would say nothing. She would say, well, there's nothing different between us. I'm not going to do anything different. So you kept using this "turn the page" slogan, but she wasn't saying what she was going to do differently. She wasn't turning the page on policy or how she would react to foreign policy, whether it be Israel or Ukraine. She was saying, I'm going to do the same thing. So that never really resonated with the people. Mark Gordon said, yes, she would. I saw that. I'm being honest, I saw Mark Lamont Hill say he doesn't know because we haven't seen Michelle Obama in a political space. We haven't seen her run for any office. One of the things about politics is when people are not around as much and they don't talk as much, their approval is normally much higher. Perfect example is Hillary Clinton. When Hillary Clinton disappears for a few years and don't talk as much, her approval is pretty high. Not high, but it's average. But the second she starts speaking, it drops dramatically. And it's understood that, that's why people just don't like certain people. So if Michelle Obama began to campaign and give her opinion more often and talking more and not just doing, a podcast once every few months, I don't know if her public opinion would be that high. Honorable says, Obama, really? Michelle definitely would have beat him. He has 400 years of ADOS to inspire people, not that I'm middle class bullshit. Maybe. In this current climate, she would have a better chance because of the whole actual Black American lineage. She would be the first actual Black American to win the office. But I just don't know if... I don't think we understand how much the right wing hates Obama. Like, we're in 2024, and you have people on the right wing that still have a deep-seated... They hate Obama as much as the left wing hate Trump. So I think if you have an Obama run, you're going to Trump's going to be able to pull out certain numbers that's 2016-ish, or even this year, he had more younger voters. And also, yeah, when that's kind of that point, yeah. Obama and Michelle is like Jesus and Mary the most niggas. Arnold says, Lamont, next reference somebody else, not that goofy. Margot says Kamala was too much of a loyalist to the party. Well, she was kind of forced to be. And I'm speaking right now in this segment, in this tab, we're going to focus on the political pundits and their opinions, and later on we'll talk about the fallout amongst the actual voters, particularly Black women. I got something to say. But she kind of had to, because as a vice president, even if it's his last year or last few months even, if I undercut the president, and that means I'm undercutting the party, which is what Trump did in 2016. If you go back to 2016, Trump was he made himself a complete rebellious to the party. He called out the corporate Republicans and everything. He was pretty much right-wing Bernie Sanders. Hold on, y'all can't even. He was pretty much right-wing Bernie Sanders. And it worked for him. I don't know if that completely works for Kamala Harris, because the left wing also has the quote-unquote leftists or the progressives within it. So she might gain them and lose the centrists. So I don't know. Brian says J.D. Vance win the next election. Yeah, I think Republicans, definitely he will be the candidate. I do think, I keep saying his name because I know that's who they're going to push, Wes Moore. J.D. Vance versus Wes Moore. How does that measure up to you, Brian? You think Wes Moore, even though he just won his state election, but on a national level, I think he's going to be easier to sell to the left winger. The Democratic Party than J.D. Vance to the. It's as easy, should I say, as J.D. Vance to the Republicans. So we'll see. Mark Gordon said that's weird because Obama wasn't a progressive. He's a moderate, slightly to the right. Well, Obama describes himself as a moderate right winger. A moderate right winger Zionist. So he called himself a Jew. Anonymous says Michelle isn't viewed as other wives. She's very much her own person, and that marriage, I don't think Obama harms her. She's viewed as more than his wife. That's to us, or should I say, that's to the demographic that supports them. To the right wingers, Michelle Obama is just his wife. Brian says Vance versus Newsom. Vance sweeps him. Newsom will not be able to come to Middle America with his fancy suits on, and he's a sociopath. He's a sociopathic. He's a narcissist. He's condescending. They're never going to listen to him when he comes to their states, or he comes and he rallies and the way he talks. He's going to lose. He's never going to win Pennsylvania. He will not win Michigan. None of those places. If they run Newsom, they're going to lose. Bree says, I like JD and Candace as running mate. Anonymous said, you can say Westmore so you blue in the face. A 980 isn't getting the push to stop anytime soon. Too many people waking up to that. You might be right, because I was talking to Travis about this, and I said, if Kamala wins, he washes. If Kamala would have won, when Westmore ran, he would have easily won. Now, you're going to have a lot of people say, well, I didn't vote for Kamala for the same reason, so I'm not going to vote for him. So he has a less probable chance to win now, maybe. But Stephen A. Smith blamed Michelle Obama for her message to male voters. She said that she alienated male voters with her speech. Same thing Obama did, even though he didn't blame Obama, because his little speech went more viral than what she said. At least it was seen as more hostile than what she said. Empress said, Virginia said, aren't Kamala and Obama 980? Yes. Well, Obama is we don't know, because there's rumors, obviously, we talked about this before, that his father was actually a Black American Panther, that his Caucasian mother was having, an affair with in Hawaii. So, I don't know. But, yeah, from what we know to be a fact, yes, both of them are 980 Honorable says, Middle America, don't know how many California people have relocated. California don't flip almost red again. California almost went back to the 80s with Reagan. I'm sorry, not California almost flipped back to Reagan era. Newsom has to remind people of Reagan, which he is not exactly. Reagan was an actor, a literal actor, who was able to convince people to vote for him. And he won all but one state. Kamala literally did the same concession speech as Hillary. It was bad. Yeah, and she also looked bad for not doing it when she knows she already lost, and she went home and decided to do it later on that day. I don't know if that was a good look either. All right, let's run through some more of this. As you can see, Trump won every single swing state: North Carolina, Georgia, Pennsylvania, Michigan. Got all of them. They still didn't gave all the Arizona votes. Another thing I want to get to, little side point I want to make. Florida, we know who won Florida about 20, 30 minutes after the election. So they go very quick. Florida is quick. Why is every other state so damn slow compared to Florida? We know immediately that their numbers are out immediately. But Arizona's still counting, 83%. They finally called Nevada a little, I think it was yesterday or earlier this morning. Empress Regina said, oh, that's right, I keep forgetting Obama rumored father is a guy named Frank versus the Kenyan dad. Yeah, so we'll see if that ever comes to light, Regina. Verbatim, no, like words verbatim. Damn. Well, they plagiarized, so. Says, I hated that brown suit. I want her out of the spotlight for at least the next 2 years. All right, Mike Bloomberg slams Democrats for concealing Biden's decline. Probably wasn't great to cover up infirmities. So the same old. I'm just going through a lot of what the politicians and the pundits and the billionaires or whatever, what they had to say. Also, a quick story I want to tell about this. Trump is not the first president to come back from defeat. So obviously Trump wins in 2016, allegedly lost in 2020, comes back in 2024. This is Grove, Cleveland. He also won, lost, and came back and won. But he actually had almost the same situation that happened with him. But the reason why he was voted out of office was because he had a side baby with a girlfriend. More than a century ago, Grover Cleveland secured a second non-consecutive term in the White House after campaign plagued with scandal and allegations of a cover-up. And this was in the 1800s. So it's funny how nothing really changes, does it? Honorable says other states have silly laws that they can't count votes until the polls close. Yeah, I saw that, which is crazy too. Some of them have to stop counting when it's too late in the night so the counters can get rest and they start back counting again. Yeah. So history repeats itself, right? Or at least it sounds the same. This was just the actual numbers. Move forward. Exit polls. Yeah. Exit polls. I saw so many during this election, during the campaigning. I saw so many people making this argument that white women are going to vote for Kamala Harris because she's a woman and it's about abortion rights and women want to protect their abortion rights and all this other stuff. What they didn't tell us was that in multiple states, as we should have known in 2020, 2016, even when Trump said it after that was actually under the Biden administration, when they got rid of Roe versus Wade, when they said they're going to make it a state issue, they had it on the ballot. So people got to vote on whether or not, or at least when they wanted abortions to be allowed or not. So people were allowed to vote for Trump and still vote pro-abortion. So there was never a reason to vote for Kamala other than she was a woman, unless you agree with some of her policies. Male, 48%. 48% of the male vote came in, and 52% of the female. So more women than men voted. That's typical. She got Kamala got 57% of the female vote, but 42% went Trump. 53% went Trump for men. Amongst white people, 67% went. 67% of the white vote came out. This was in 2020. I'm sorry. I want to make a comparison. Let me just show this. So this is 2020 and this is 2024. Let me go down to a particular number I want to show. All right, if it stay the same. All right, 11% of the vote, of the black vote came out. I'm sorry, black people accounted for 11% of the electorate. In 2020, 13% of the black vote counted toward the electorate. So more white people showed up and less black people showed up during this election. If you go towards actual gender and race, or black men counted for 5% in 2024. And in 2020, black men counted for 4%. So more black men showed up. And if I'm not mistaken, less black women showed up in this election. Since I wasn't taxed, nothing are exit polls only from the battleground states. I think it's now on a national level. Exit polls from the national. NBC News, in conjunction with the consortium of news organizations, conducted exit polls across the country. Yeah, so it's national. And only 10 states are counted towards this. So I'm guessing they count the swing states and maybe a few others they think would be close. The polling included speaking to voters at polling places and phone interviews. The exit polls are not results, but instead a look at the thinking and motives of voters across the country. Exit polls help the public better understand the makeup and motivations of the electorate. So yeah, I don't know if the percentages necessarily are based off of just hearsay or questions and amongst only these 10 states, or if that's just about why people voted the way they vote. Like, what policies mattered more? What do you think the country is going in the next 10 years? I don't know if they separated that based off the numbers of the votes that came in, or if they just did those 10 states. But anyway, more black men voted in this election, about just 1%, and less black women voted in this election by 1%. Reagan says, saw recently black people in Mississippi and other southern states had to pay $2 to vote until the late 80s. Well, they had to do that, or they had to take the test. Pretty much an IQ test that was impossible to actually complete. Honorable said, I wish more blacks had showed up and just not voted top of the ticket. The couch shit was so annoying. Yeah, a lot of people don't like the non-voters. But I mean, if you wanted a message to be sent, it got sent either way, I guess. All right, now this is what I want to talk about. Now this is the popular vote since 2004, the amount of people that voted. 2004, John Kerry had 59 million. He lost, but he had a popular vote. He lost in the electorate. In 2008, Barack Obama had 69 million. That makes sense because they had the highest turnout amongst black voters ever. So that makes sense that you get that many more people. Obama in 2008, we know what he was doing, how a lot of people fell for his electric speaking and all the other stuff. So 69 million, okay. 2012, 66 million. Okay, a lot of people realized that it was bullshit and didn't vote. 3 million less people voted. Hillary Clinton, 66 million, same exact number. And then all of a sudden, and by the way, that was a popular vote. Hillary Clinton lost. Joe Biden gets 81 million votes. Now, there are people that say that's because of the mail-in voting. Remember, we were just coming out of the COVID stuff. The pandemic was still kind of around. So a lot of people was getting mail-in votes. It was a lot more of that. So that's why the number was so much higher, but more people were participating in the election because of that. They didn't have to leave the house. But then Kamala gets 67. Now, I think that number is now up to 71 million or 72 million for Kamala Harris. I still think it's insane. This is what you have to believe. Either Donald Trump inspires people on both sides of the aisle to vote more, or both sides are doing some trickery with the numbers. Because I will say, the same year that Joe Biden got 81 million, I believe Trump got 76, which would have been second most in history. Now, the only way you can keep up with a person who you think is cheating is if you're cheating as well. It's like in track, when somebody runs when somebody runs under 20 seconds in their 200, and you ran just slightly slower, and you say they cheating, that means you cheating too, if you close to them. I'm gonna say there should be federal mandate. Everyone has to vote. What if I don't like none of the candidates? And if you say, well, you can just vote down and not vote on the top of the ticket, I might not like none of the parties either. Virginia says, in my humble opinion, not voting is still voting. Neither resonates. Voting for lesser of the evils is tirade. I don't owe them nor other candidates nothing. Agreed. Other voters. Green says, rigged like professional sports. You know, you could bet on the ejection payouts are in the late January 25. Wake up, people. Look, man, sports betting becoming legal, it should be obvious at this point. Once sports betting became legal, you see it was already a lot of weird stuff that happened in sports anyway. But the stuff you see now, like, come on. We know what it is. Let's move on. This is the person that showed the probability of getting that much turnout in 2020, but I'm not going to go through that right now. I'm just going to move forward. All right. 7 states vote to protect abortion rights, while efforts to expand access in Florida, Nebraska, and South Dakota fail. Now, this made me think that the Republican Party is not the same Republican Party that it was a couple of decades ago. The same way the Democrats have always sold the idea that the right wing wants to control control society socially through forcing religion and not allowing abortions and stuff on their voter base. The right wing has always sold the idea that we want to make things more righteous and stuff by banning stuff like abortion. The unfortunate thing for them is, because of Trump and his very muddy opinion on abortion, the voter base, Republicans, are now pro-abortion, but they'll say we're only pro-abortion up till a certain amount of weeks. So the Republican Party, their platform is no longer anti-abortion. They are now pro-abortion up until a certain amount of weeks. And that's kind of what this election showed, because, like I said, people voted for abortion in their states, but still voted Donald Trump. Mark says, got to get rid of the electoral college vote. I used to think that, but I don't think you can. When you realize that California, New York, Texas, and a few other places have if you get rid of electoral college, they will have such power over the election that people in the middle of the country who don't have as big a populations would pretty much rarely win elections. They would rarely have their point of view. They would be able to vote on the state level and win, but on the national level, people in Kentucky and places like that would always have to abide by what the coastal states support. And I don't know if that's completely fair, which is why the electoral college was put in place, to make sure that people in the middle of the country feel like their voices are heard on a national level. Mark Gordon said it used to be the GOP was pro-war, war hawks. Now the DNC is pro-war Israel. Well, nah, that's not true. I think the GOP is still very much pro-Israel. I agree with you. They're not necessarily pro-war because now they've taken on the identity of Trump and his pulling out of the world theory idea, what basically is we leave NATO. We should leave NATO. We should leave all these foreign countries. We should stop giving aid and all the other stuff. But a big chunk of the GOP is still the evangelical Christians, and they are very much pro-Israel. So they're pro-Israel, not necessarily pro-war. And obviously, the Democratic Party is pro-war. I agree. Kiefer, what up? Mark Gordon says that way to encourage more people to move instead of the cities being the only diverse places. Yeah, I guess you can say that. All right. Another thing that happened. Brayden said the election contracts were even on Robinhood. Yeah, I saw that. Foreign investors selected Trump. Yeah, I saw a lot of that. When I saw people, or I don't know if that was the money line or if that, I mean, not the money line, but the investors or the amount people put into it. But I saw that Kamala, when I saw it at least, had a little bit more. I think Trump was at, what was it, 50 cents or something? And Kamala was at like 35. Maybe I'm reading that wrong. And they were saying that you get $1 per purchase, per what's called that you choose from her, and you get paid out in January. And I said, you can bet on the presidential election. It's crazy. Wall Street is completely Las Vegas now. All right. Let me show y'all. Exit polls show white vote surging as Black and Hispanic voters stay home. So as I said, she got less of the Black vote, less Black turnout in major places. But the Hispanic vote, that should have bought Trump at 47. Yeah, by the time late night came, he was up to like 90 cents. And she was obviously when he had a better chance to win. So many people was putting money into him. It was pretty much too late then. But yeah, a lot of people was going Trump. But I saw a lot of people going Kamala at first. In the beginning stages of the election, or election night, or election day, should I say, Kamala was getting a lot of people because she was obviously the according to that Robinhood, she was not the favorite in the beginning because a lot of people put money on her because they thought they would get more money because she was cheaper. The big discussion that came from the Democratic Party is that Hispanics are not a Hispanic bloc. They are diverse. We can't treat Hispanics like the Blacks and expect all of them to think the same and vote one way. They're diverse, as they said. So the Hispanics voted Trump at a high clip, I think like 40-something%. Latino women, I think like 35 or something like that. And that led to a lot of backlash from the pundits like Joanne Reed and such saying, why would you vote someone who wants to deport you? And I kept thinking, well, just because they're Hispanic or Latino, should I say, doesn't mean they're illegal. So I'm pretty sure they felt like that was them being very stereotypical and maybe even racist from that standpoint. The same way they said about the people who were the Black men who voted Trump. And so why would you want to vote for somebody because of the police immunity? And I'm like, there's already police qualified immunity for police. It was Clyburn of South Carolina who tanked the bill, police reform bill, that had an amendment in it to get rid of qualified immunity. It was Clyburn who tanked that bill for Joe Biden. And it amazed me that people just ignore that. It was Clyburn who did that. It was already something that could have been taken care of and gotten rid of. He tanked the bill to shield Joe Biden. But they said the bill wouldn't get through if that was in, and he decided to just kick it out. So it is what it is. Why Latino man voted for Trump? It's the economy, stupid. And I want to show this woman right here, because they separating their data too now. This woman here, El Norte, I'm not even going to say her name. She says, finally, this aggregated data on the Latino vote. Relieved to see that Mexican voters did better than the infographic lumping all Latinos together, right, implies. So this is the graph that everybody is seeing that shows that Latino men voted for Trump at 53%, and Latino women, voted for Kamala at 53%, voted for Trump at 45%, and Latino women voted for Trump at 40%. The disaggregated data says that Mexicans voted 62% for Kamala, and that only the Cubans are the main ones that almost 60% went to Trump. But if you look at all these numbers, all of them are at least in the low 30s, low to 30% that went to Donald Trump. So I don't know if that completely separated it, but they want to separate their data too and let it be known that not all of them are Trump supporters, only because social media been kicking their back in for the last couple of days. A lot of people. We saw Joanne Reed call out the white women who got on that call, white women for Kamala Harris, and raised $1 million in what was it, 30 minutes or something. So I kept thinking when I saw that the exit polls, how many of these women got online acting like they were anti-Trump, and then on vote night went to the booth and voted Trump? The same way with all these celebrities. We saw what's her name? Azalea Banks came out and supported Kamala Harris, and then after the election, or at least on voter night, actually, she came out and said, actually, I voted for Trump. And a few other people. I got a feeling people like Sexy Red voted for Trump too, but they came out in support of Kamala because, you got to be careful. Bray says, where all that money them black women raised? Oh, I'm going to get to that too. I'm focusing on the pundits and stuff right now. I'm going to get to the voters' reaction in a second. Virginia says, Professor Black Truth recently referred to Clyburn as the Dems' favorite sharecropper. And he won again. He won again. Clyburn won again. Somebody said got to be cracking it in them fish sandwiches because it's like they just don't see it. I get it. Most of his voter base is probably older population. They're not they probably just watch MSNBC or NBC or CNN. That's what probably how most of them get their news. Although TikTok is pretty popular amongst the older population too. But most of their news probably come from certain parties. So I get it. But damn, he's still winning elections over there. And also Trump is asking to limit terms. We'll get to that too. Keeper says paid actors, all of them. Yeah, I don't think most of them voted for Kamala that said they were. Like I'm looking at Taylor Swift, and you see the backlash she got for just saying that she endorsed her. I wouldn't be surprised if she didn't actually vote for her. Yeah, what happened to the power of the Swifties, by the way? The Taylor Swift, she endorsed the most, what they say, the biggest artist on the planet, the most famous person on the planet right now, the biggest pop star, endorsed Kamala Harris, and it did nothing. So the death of the celebrity is in full effect. We've been saying it for the last 4 years, 5 years even, that nobody listens to celebrities on who to vote for. Or at least most people don't. Mark Gordon says, Yvette made a great point that they identify by language, but by the second generation, they stop speaking Spanish, which means they are white. They can't be anything else. Well, I showed that video last week of them begging to be white. And then they decided to hop on the black bandwagon when what we were doing started working with the civil rights movement and such. But yeah, first generation immigrants are normally right wing. That goes for all of them, whether it be the African or the Caribbean immigrants. Not all, obviously, but that's pretty normal. And as you can see in this right here, what I'm about to show, not like us, exploring foreign black men's distinct voting patterns in the 2020 election. Now, this was before the election. Arnold says Swift influence must be on non-voters, the babies. Yeah, most of those pop stars' audience are younger people. Although Beyonce, she 0 for 3. Beyonce, like Trump said, she 0 for 3 now with her candidate endorsement. So it's tough. So this article came out November 1st before the election, and in this article, they went deeper into showing that most people, most black men especially, shall I say, who vote right wing are typically foreign black people. If y'all saw the numbers, if I'm not mistaken, it might have changed by now. In Texas, 34% of the black men in Texas, or the black male vote, voted for Donald Trump. Now, when I saw that number, I said, ain't no way. But then I found out that there's a large Nigerian population, amongst others, in Texas. But now I see this article right here. It makes sense that Trump got so much of the black male vote in Texas if they have a high population of foreign-born, quote-unquote, black people. Honorable says, told y'all Beyonce picks always lose. Mark Gordon says, if they're no longer speaking Spanish and their identity is based on it, what's the point of calling Latinos Hispanic? What's the point in calling Latinos Hispanic? Well, that's why they're asking for their data to be disaggregated as well. Because a Cuban, we know, growing up, I had one Cuban and a bunch of Mexican people, not a bunch, but a couple Mexican people in our school. And that one Cuban girl did never, ever, ever wanted to be mistaken for being Mexican. That's why it was such a big deal when Jennifer Lopez played Selena. The Mexicans didn't like that y'all went and got a Puerto Rican to play a Mexican. That just wasn't a good deal. Mexicans are seen as the lower end of the Latino Hispanic population. They're not as cool or whatever you want to consider it. So yeah. But yeah, in 2020, they figured out that some suggest the 2020 presidential election highlighted a gender gap among black voters, prompting scrutiny of the effects of the hypermasculine and anti-establishment rhetoric on the voting behavior of black men. Public discourse on the voting behavior of black men tends to treat this group of voters as a homogenous group. It looks how the trip line of black immigrants since 1980 diversifies voting preferences within the community. Despite constituting 11% of the 2018 immigrant electorate, black immigrants are often neglected in discussion about black politics, revealing a need for more inclusive analysis of voter dynamics. As the blog will continue to explore, my analysis on the issue concludes that in 2020, foreign-born black men showed the most support for Donald Trump at 30% versus 11% of U.S.-born and 10% of second-generation black men. These differences change the idea of a uniform black voting bloc. So they're trying to say that black people are turning into Hispanics. Honorable says Hispanic created in the 80s was supposed to unite Spanish-speaking individuals. Well, it's America's attempt to create these what do they call it? These voting colors, these blocks they can create where they can just have one issue for every population. So if you're Hispanic, then we know that we need to talk about immigration. We know if you're Hispanic, we want you to be focused on immigration and getting your abuela, have you sit down and say it in this country. If you're black, it's criminal justice reform, prison reform. You know, we know you want to get out of jail. If you're white, it's the economy, you know. Mystery Man, happy days are here again. Hail Trump. Honorable says, I believe it the way they always well-versed in Thomas Sowell bullshit against us. Margot says, Honorable, I understand that. It's just by the second and third generation, they only speak English. They are now white. Well, that's why I've heard them say that when they come to this country, they do not teach their kids their native language. They'll only let their kids speak English. If they try and speak any of their language, they'll stop them. They'll make sure they only speak their English language in public. And so, yeah, they want to make sure their people understand that we are now being a part of this American society.
To be clear, I know you say that it would be the people who are criminals first, but then ultimately, every undocumented immigrant in this country, even those who perhaps are deemed by their neighbors as contributing to society, or perhaps those who are married to American citizens or legal immigrants. That's it. Children, adults, older people, they all should be gone.
The American people spoke loud and clear on Tuesday. They gave this president and Republicans a mandate to do everything that we can. The goal should be to deport every illegal in this country that we can find. And as I said a moment ago, if you take away the incentive for them to come here in the first place by turning up the pressure on those who employ illegals, then you've taken away the incentive. They're going to go back to where they came from. So
now I want to play this little part right quick again. Hold on.
Citizens or legal immigrants. That's it. Children, adults, older people, they all should be gone.
Hold on.
Society, or perhaps those who are married to American society, or perhaps those who are married to American citizens.
So she brought up that they still want to deport people who get married to an American citizen in order to become citizens. So judge declares Biden immigration program for spouses of U.S. citizens is illegal. So what they're saying is if you marry someone from another country, they are still not allowed to be citizens. Same thing for children, apparently. If you come to this country, and we know it's happened, we've seen people on these videos of these large groups of immigrants from Venezuela or South America, should I say, all through Central America and Mexico who come across the border. We've seen stories or seen actual evidence that people are coming to this country pregnant in their last trimester. They're about to have the baby. It's about to pop out. They come to America, have the baby, in order for the baby can be what we call an anchor baby. They're saying that that baby will no longer be a naturalized citizen. The parents must be citizens in order for the child to be a citizen. Mark Gordon said, Tone Talks put out a graph that showed the difference between us and African Caribbeans and how we vote. The chart would say first generation Black Americans, which is not us. Yeah, they've been saying that a lot too. You got people using the term second generation Black American, all this stuff. Yeah. Keeper says, bye, bye, bye. Bye, 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 bye. Honorable says, deport them all, no exceptions. Mark Gordon said, 14th Amendment, they don't give a damn. Honorable Smart Judge, end birthright citizenship next. That's what they're trying to go after. Mr. Man says, no more people of color. Y'all non-FBA people, hold your own nuts. Yeah, I saw a lot of I saw one woman. It was a Latino woman on Twitter or X. She came out and said, I'm glad you Latinos see how much Black people hate us, and saying how she don't care about building a coalition or a political coalition with Black people. And I said, well, they're just showing their true face because they never voted in a way that showed that. And it's sad that it might take 2 losses to Donald Trump for Black people to see the voting patterns and realize we all we got. Why are we still trying to build friendships? At this point, I just don't get it. You've been told by all your ancestors, all your political leaders back from the late 1800s that you are on your own. Stop expecting these groups to choose something that benefits you over what benefits them. They're never going to do it, and we do it way too much. Mark said, if both parents must be citizens, then does that mean Vivek Ramaswamy can be deported? We'll see how far it goes. We'll see. I do know that they're trying to go after the birthright citizenship and the marital status citizenship, so we'll see. But by doing that, I know, as the man said, when you attack those things, you get rid of incentive. So if I know I can come to this country and have a baby and they're now a citizen, then you got a lot of people that's gonna play the line. They're gonna find a way in. They're gonna play the loophole. But if you get rid of that, then a lot more people will just decide it's not even worth it. Then what's the point? So we'll see. Regina says the Black people hate U.S. narrative, hate us narrative is so tied. In my so-called Black experience, the devil is the white man who those other folks, Harpo. Well, they're trying to get closer to being, they want to be part of the fold. So you got to understand, Black Americans are very unique in our experience in this country because we were here before America existed. We were here when it was just a colony, and we were here after it became a country. And so we are the American citizens. So when these other people come in and they try to chastise the government and such, it doesn't resonate because you're from another country. You came here for a better opportunity. We can get on the highest of mountains and yell at the rooftop how terrible this country is because we are Americans. We've been here centuries. Like we can say what we want to say. We can walk around with our nuts out like it's nothing. Like they can't stop that. So I think, unfortunately, in order for them to ingratiate themselves more into society, they have to find a way to convince the dominant society that the complaints that Black people are levying towards this country don't matter because, look, we came here from Venezuela or Colombia or Ukraine or whatever, so that means this country is great. We support this country. We'll vote red. They're trying to be the top minority. I know people from Ukraine and stuff are white. They're not considered minorities, but their immigration status it definitely affects how white people view them. Briggs says, yet gun sales on election day broke records. There are 2 Americas. Same thing happened in 2016 when Donald Trump won. The amount of Black people that bought guns especially went up. So it's the same old. Defend yourself. Honorable says it should be illegal for anchor babies to sponsor the parents too. I see this with a lot of Caribbeans. The children help the mother get papers after her being here illegally for years. Yeah, that's definitely a norm. Margot said JD Vance's wife is she not U.S. born? I don't know. That's what I'm saying. The stuff they're asking for may just be rhetoric for the campaigning and something they will not do when they get in office, but it can cause a lot of ramifications that come from it. Then it says, we sure are unique. Uncle, what up, Uncle? Hit that like button, good people. What up? But yeah, all right, let's move forward. When I saw them trying to go after the legal status immigrants who marry in or anchor baby in. It made me think of this video right here.
No more money for you. You working. No more money for you. Bye-bye. Go back across the No more money for you. No more money for you. It's lazy. You lazy. You lazy. No more money for you.
We're going to see how you sound in a few years, buddy.
News, the mayor just announced that the city will no longer issue vouchers to migrants to pay for food, ending a controversial program that had repeatedly come under attack by conservatives and others.
This pilot program in New York City, drenched in both humanity and controversy, distributed debit cards to migrant families staying in city-funded hotels and allowing them to buy their own food. Eyewitness News reporter Josh Onier following the breaking news for us.
Gave them vouchers to buy their own food after they complained about the food they was getting. They were staying in hotels, very expensive ones, complaining about the food they were getting. So they gave them their own money to go buy the food they want. Can you think it? You trying to help somebody, and they're being picky with what you give them to help them. Crazy.
Josh?
Well, Bill, it's a program that, as you say, generated plenty of controversy, but now its absence may raise even more questions. The so-called Immediate Response Cards pilot program was designed to help feed migrant families who'd found themselves in New York with no way to afford food. The one-year contract provided what the city described as culturally relevant food to 2,600 migrant families.
Culturally relevant. So they can go buy food, so they can get their food. They can cook the food they make in their own cultural cuisine, because they didn't like bologna sandwich and peanut butter sandwiches.
Families, allowing them to basically buy what they wanted. A family of four with two kids under 5 got about $350 per week.
$350 a week. Brittany says, when are we going to learn politics isn't our strong suit? It has to be. It has to become a strong suit very quickly, honestly. We got about three more elections before, this gets curtain call. Honorable says, with all those stories of black men voting red, a dog whistle for the Latinx men to drop DNC, I still don't get the attack on black men from this election, from the election. We're going to be studying this for years to come. The whole black male vote thing goes into more of a cultural war. The Democratic Party has been pushing female candidates, not even female candidates. They've used their putting women issues on the main part of the platform, which is their business. So they're abortion, women's rights, and all the other type of stuff. So they put kind of male masculinity or anything like that on the back burner. So I think them attacking black men was not even necessarily about making them scapegoating them for the vote. I think they think this is how you're supposed to talk to men. It just so happens that the candidate that they were pushing was quote unquote black, and in the last election it was Joe Biden, and then their biggest voter base is black women. So I think the reason why they attack black men is just because they think that's just how they're supposed to talk to them. They're talking to black men in a political, in a policy about all that type. They think black men aren't capable of really choosing a candidate based off of that. So you have to talk to them by demeaning them, chastising them, and acting like you're the mother. Mark said, Joy Reid is trying to push flat blackness on MSNBC lately. No, she's been going in on white women and Hispanics. She actually came out immediately after the election and said, we're not going to do the whole blame black men thing because they actually voted for Kamala. So they're trying to backtrack on some of that stuff they said. Brian says, immediate response card, RC spelled backwards is CR, me. Hold on.
To cover food in a program the city said would actually save taxpayers millions a year. It also reduced food waste.
Crying.
The food the city had been providing in migrant shelters was seen as not culturally sensitive to the needs of some migrants.
All right, we get it. But then said this election turned Joy Reid into an old-looking black man. Yeah, the blonde short hair, not a good look. What the world is saying about Trump's win? What are the leaders who've commented? So I saw an article that said immediately after the win that the Russian officials was saying hallelujah. I saw what's his name? Zelensky. He came out and said some little slick stuff by saying, I hope he's really for peace, and all the other stuff, basically wanting Trump to continue to give him weapons and stuff, but he know that ain't gonna happen. We saw Netanyahu very happy with the Trump win, and Iran says we don't give a damn. Iran came out and said we don't care. It don't hurt us. It don't help or hurt us. We don't give a damn. So, yeah. Let me show this video right here, though.
Did win.
I gotta show this video right quick. Shout out to my girl, Dalton Mayor Tiffany Henyard. Let me show y'all what she had to say about Trump.
And congratulations again, this is me saying it publicly, to our new president of the United States. Just like Trump, I'm going to come in on a landslide on both seats. Know that. Remember this moment when I landslide and come in for the victory like I always do.
She said she gonna landslide like Trump. I see people in the comments saying, like, how the hell is this woman not in prison at this point? All right, how our world economy is reacting to Trump's imminent return as U.S. president. The stock market went up. Bitcoin went up quick. Wow. Bitcoin went up, but I did see gold went down, which means that people are. I saw somebody say this is just a high. The fact that gold went down means that people think they're in a high right now that Trump won. They think the economy is going to be good and all this stuff. So they're putting money in other places other than that. So I can imagine them. If you can, and I'm not a financial advisor. If you into that type of stuff, you should buy gold right now. But yeah, Bitcoin going up, because they believe that Trump is going to get rid of the financial. But by the way, hold on, what is it called? Hold on, y'all. Hold on, y'all. The Fed chief, that's what it is. The Federal Reserve, which is not federal, America has no input on it. He said he will not step down if Trump asks. And people were shocked that he said that because they realized that the Fed is not voted in, can't be voted out, and can't be fired. So the Federal Reserve, the Fed, is completely nobody in America has the power to actually affect him. And I think some people might have clicked for a second. Wait, the person who runs the Federal Reserve is completely protected from any type of influence on America. That right here says, Powell says he would not resign as Fed chief if Trump asked for his resignation. Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell said Thursday that the president does not have the legal power to fire or demote him. When asked whether he would step aside if President Donald Trump asked him to resign, he said no. So maybe some people will realize that a few years ago, when Trump talking about getting rid of the Federal Reserve, why he got a lot of backlash for that. Imagine that, the president, Congress, nobody can affect your job, and you're running America's their money, Fed Reserve. We have no control over who runs our Federal Reserve, or any for that matter in the world. But anyway, Bitcoin will be 100K by summer. Crypto investors invest heavily into Trump's campaign. ROIs, as promise made is a promise kept. Anonymous says, I need a job like that. Train me to be his replacement. Those people aren't hired; they're selected. You gotta be very entwined with international, people to get that type of job. Trump versus Kamala reminds me of Sophia versus the Penguin on HBO Max, as it turns out. Oh yeah, I've been watching that show too. Pretty good. Although I'm not really I haven't watched the final episode yet. I'm not really liking how they ended this, but we'll see. I haven't watched the final episode yet, though. All right. Let me show. I want to show this. Now, on this is October 22nd. On the same day that BRICS was meeting in Russia, Yellen, I believe that's her name, this U.S. Treasury chief or whatever, she came out and did this, and I want y'all to pay attention to what happened.
I think you also asked about the dollar, the status of, and
this is the video. This is not even the video. I want to show the video where she was speaking, and the guy asked her about the standing of the dollar and internationally and where it would go and whether or not they're worried about other competition. And before she got to speak on what the dollar was, the seal for the Treasury Department fell on the ground. I just thought that was an omen. Thought it was funny. All right. Let me show. Brittany says everything on TV sucks or is a gay or both. Yeah, it's kind of typical at this point. Now, right after Trump won, Russia not rejecting dollar use, Putin. Russia is not struggling with the U.S. currency, but is thinking of creating new instruments in response to new trends on global economic development, he added. Russia has not sought after and does not seek after rejecting the dollar use, President Vladimir Putin said on a plenary session of the Vladai Discussion Club. We, Russia in any case, do not reject the dollar and do not intend to do this. We are merely denied of using the dollar as a payment instrument, Putin said. In my opinion, this is very foolish from the side of the U.S. financial authorities because the entire power of the U.S. to date rests on the dollar. So Trump got in office and Putin immediately said, oh, no, we ain't against using the dollar, man. It's fine. So he also just made the point that y'all stop. That's why I'm using it. I thought that was funny how he either came out and all that BRICS is taking over and them losing the backing of Saudi and all that stuff behind the dollar. Immediately, all this stuff starts to fall to the wayside, but we'll see how far that goes. Speaking of Kamala Harris campaign's election, concert said to cost up to $20 million as staff vendors fear they won't be paid. So all those concerts she ended the shows with, I think that was what's her name? It's right here, Christina Aguilera, Lady Gaga, Katy Perry came out. I think that was in Detroit or something, or was that Pennsylvania? They said she owed $20 million. Keep in mind, her campaign raised $1 billion. And I'm not mistaken, in 2020, when she dropped out of the race, the reason why she dropped out of the race, if I'm not mistaken, was financially she didn't have enough money in the coffers anymore. So if this is true, that means she ended 2 campaigns broke. 2. But, presidential candidate.
Don't look at me. Don't look at me. This is who your black leaders said was going to fix the economy. This is who your black leaders said was going to fix the economy and who we should vote for. Y'all gave her 40 M's before you even got the policies.
You're talking about black women.
You gave her 40 M's and you didn't know what the 40 M's was for. Here we are, 60 days later, and the 40 M's is gone, and you in the hole another 20 mil. How? How, Sway? Go to all your black leaders who told you to vote for her and ask them how this happened.
Well, it says mathing. Now, let me say this. I do know that when you run those campaigns, those presidential campaigns or those very high donor campaigns, a lot of them be fudging the numbers. A lot of them be taking some of that money and putting it to the side for their own bank accounts. They'll lie about what they had to spend on and purchase on. We know they cook the numbers. So that $20 million may not be $20 million in debt. She might have put 30, 40 million in her account and she lied about expenses. And now she, I'm $20 million in debt. So nobody gonna get paid. Uncle says, I only watch YouTube. And Regina says, my sister said, now that's the only thing she did. That's the only black thing she did. Keeper says, fix the economy and they broke, LOL. Yeah, it's crazy to me. 40 million vanished. Yeah, I don't believe him. I don't believe she vanished that money. I believe she stashed some of that money more than likely. Brink says, y'all allowed to legally keep all campaign funds raised. See, So I believe she lied about expenses so that when the campaign ends, and that wait, she still got, $60 million she ain't spend. It looks bad when you got $60 million you didn't spend on your campaign and you lost. So you lie and say you're in debt. Because if you ain't spend that last 60, it's gonna be like, all right, you wasn't even trying to win at some point. You didn't go all the way and make sure everything was done that needed to be done. But yeah. Donald Trump to push a constitutional amendment to impose term limits on members of Congress. Congratulations. Thank you. And I think an 80-year-old shouldn't be president, but we'll see how far he goes. He might make it like 85 or something like that, but we'll see. Trump lawyer threatens to put Letitia James' fat ass in jail. I gotta show this. Yeah, I gotta show this right here. Hold on.
Pleased to bring in our first guest. He is the founder and the president of the Article 3 Project, Mike Davis. Hey, Mike, welcome in.
Thank you for having me.
Always great to see you. Okay, clearly probably the most important election of America in recent, memory that we can remember. One of the greatest, if not the greatest comeback of all times in political history. But yet, here's the headline over at Politico. Trump dodged the law. Here's who to blame. He dodged the law, or he just won a massive re-election with the...
In New York City, in Atlanta, in Arizona, and the American people delivered their verdict on Tuesday, and they put President Trump back in the White House instead of the Democrats' plan to put President Trump in Rikers Island.
Yeah.
By the way, how many of y'all believe the Trump blue tie versus Trump red tie theory?
Letitia James can't stop herself, had to get in front of the cameras yesterday. I just want to play a little bit of her comments yesterday and what she vows to do.
We did not expect this result, but we are prepared to respond to this result.
She looked scared. She looked shook, y'all. She looked scared and shook. I'm sorry, hold on. Let me go back. Hold on. She looked scared and shook right here. I can't lie.
Expect this result, but we are prepared to respond to this result. And my office has been preparing for several months because we've been here before. We faced this challenge before, and we used the rule of law to fight back. And we are prepared to fight back once again.
She's an attorney general, so she's using the state's money. I mean, there seems to be some type of psychosis, and this doesn't seem like something that should be within her power, yet it is. She's been there before.
TDS, Trump derangement syndrome.
What do you think of these words, the timing of it? Is there any remedy for this type of lawfare now?
Yeah, I would say this to Big Tish James. Number one, you're about
Big
to
Tiff.
get reversed on appeal by even Democrat-appointed judges on the New York Appellate Court for your bogus lawsuit against President Trump for fraud. That's going to get reversed. And I would say this, number two, Big Tish James, you better be careful, because when you politicize and weaponize law enforcement against your political enemies, you are engaged in a very serious federal civil rights felony called conspiracy against rights under 18 USC section 241. And I can imagine that the Trump 47 Justice Department is not going to have any patience for this Democrat lawfare over the next 4 years.
TikTok. Here we go. January 20th, Inauguration Day. There's been a lot, of course, reaction to Donald Trump winning, and winning not just, the Electoral College, but we know he won the popular vote. Here's the ACLU's deputy director talking about what Americans on the street need to do. It's pretty appalling. I'm going to play this in case our audience clearly didn't watch MSDNC for this.
One of the reasons why I want to stress to people, we need you in the streets, because the courts will not always do everything for us.
Well, I do feel like the judges...
I need to jump through this. Hold y'all. I want to get to... Hold on. I want to get to that particular part, but he said, Big Tish James needs to step away from the cameras and really reflect on how she violated the law by weaponizing the justice system against her political enemies. This isn't a game by any these Democrat prosecutors want to play the incoming Trump administration. He told her if she don't sit her fat ass down, he's going to put her in jail. This was not loading for some reason, so I'm gonna move on. But they talking big. We'll see. People said, LOL, I love it. Yep, she looks scared and scripted. Breonna said you cannot legally prosecute a sitting president since he'll be polled as all charges drop. Yeah, they're already mad with the DOJ. They're already mad with them because they said they about to wind down all these charges. Keeper says overly dramatized speech. Breonna says she looked like a black guy from SNL. Keeper says she looked like Eddie Murphy from the Clumps. Well, yeah. All right, let's move on to the next part of this. Oh, we already talked about this. I ain't got to go into it too much more. Don't expect Kamala Harris' loss to boost Gavin Newsom's presidential prospects. So this article is doing what I said. They're warning against running him as a candidate to lead the party. So we'll see if they listen. We already talked about that, though. So, all right, this. Will Joe Biden pardon Hunter before he leaves the White House? Trump said that he maybe would. Trump said if he got in the office, he knows that how he said Hunter Biden has been a very bad boy, but he's not like Biden them. He might actually pardon him. So now let me show this other thing. So after the loss, I saw people immediately start saying that Joe Biden should drop out so that Kamala Harris could be president for the next 3 months. And I saw it a few times. Biden should resign so Harris can have a presidential moment. I saw that article. I saw another one on like Breitbart or something like that. And you got this one right here. Kamala Harris can still be first female president if Biden resigns. And there was a petition on change.org that was asking people to force Biden to step down so that Kamala could be president, but then it got deleted. But then change.org put up another one. Call on Joe Biden. So this is the one where call on Joe Biden to resign and make Kamala Harris the 47th president of the United States. And I think this is right here. The other one was deleted. So I don't know what happened. I don't know what happened. They decided to delete it. So now I'm going to show this right here. I want to show this right here, too.
I am told that there was a Harris campaign staff call held yesterday evening, and that leaders on the call had one specific request that they wanted to make to the staff, and that was to avoid criticizing the campaign and its strategy to members of the media. Essentially, their message was, this doesn't really help the situation at all.
I just saw what you said, Respucia.
was on the call, described the gist of what top officials on the call said to staff. They said everyone was like, this sucks, losing sucks. There's something bigger that happened than the campaign, and everyone worked really hard, and everyone's proud of them, and basically stop shitting on the campaign to the press. Now, I am also told that the senior campaign officials on this call promise the staff that they're going to do everything that they can to help them find jobs. Obviously, a very new reality for everyone on this campaign.
I said it before the election that a lot of people weren't even caring about saving Kamala. They wanted to save their damn job.
Some of whom had very much hoped that if Harris were to win, they could be headed to Washington, D.C. to look for roles inside the White House throughout the administration. I'm also told that there was an acknowledgement on this call that Harris's loss had been sweeping. Now, you can imagine a lot of raw emotions right now coursing throughout the Democratic Party, including, as we have been reporting, a lot of anger that is being directed at President Biden as well.
Yeah, they mad with Biden. Could Kamala Harris, now listen to this one. Could Kamala Harris replace Sonia Sotomayor on the Supreme Court? I saw another article that was saying that Sonia Sotomayor calls for her to step down because of some ailment or something are becoming loud again. And I just thought to myself, when did I hear about her stepping down ever? I've never heard anything about her stepping down. So now they're saying, look, when Trump get in office, he's more than likely, during that next 4 years, Clarence Thomas is probably going to step down. So he's probably going to replace Clarence Thomas with somebody. So they're saying if you don't make her step down right now, if she steps down during the Trump, obviously, regime or Trump administration, he might be able to replace her as well. So even though there's nothing wrong with you, you have all your faculties mentally, you're healthy, it seems, whatever, step down now, that we can force Kamala Harris into the court. but I don't think they would have enough votes to get Kamala Harris in more than likely. All right, Brittany says, when you got Cardi B reading from a phone endorsing you, what do you expect? Virginia says, yep, no more black jobs for those seeking them via Kamala win. Yeah, that's dead with it. But now they're trying to get it in the Supreme Court. They're trying to get him to step down so she can be president.
Liberal.
They're trying to find a way to get some win somewhere. Because right now they pretty down bad. I'm going to show where I first saw this at. I saw Bakari Sellers be the first person to say this. And notice what he said at the end here, by the way.
Liberal. And so I hope that Joe Biden makes the next 10 weeks as consequential as he can. I don't care about drawing outside the lines or what Republicans may think about it. This is within your purview. You can actually do it, and you should do it. And, one more thing, John, is you have a hell of a vice president right there who has a legal pedigree to sit on the Supreme Court, and let Republicans go crazy and ape. I'm even mentioning that option.
You're floating. Are you floating? This is 7:39 a.m. on the East Coast. Did Bakari Sellers just float Vice President Kamala Harris as a potential Supreme Court nominee?
Not only am I floating it, but I want to stir up everything. I want people's heads to explode this morning so we go into the weekend just knowing that the chaos has not ended just yet.
Agents of chaos. Agents of chaos is what they are. All right, this is already gone, so we can move on away from this one. We can move away from these two as well. I want to show this to y'all because after she lost, I saw a lot of people who was saying this inside the comments and all the other stuff. You better thank a union member. So let me play this.
You better thank a union member for sick leave. You better thank a union member for paid leave. You better thank a union member for vacation time.
This reminds me of that Good Trouble quote. Man, oh man. Anyway, let's get to the last part of this I want to get to, which is the voter group. The anger. It jumped off too quick. Hold on. LOL, you better thank a union member. Now, 45, 47. Now, before I get to these next videos I'm about to play, I'm going to try to start with positivity because it got bad. It got bad out there. Shout out to the brothers. They was kicking your back in for a couple hours, and then it kind of stopped because people was like, they had to jump on the Hispanics and the white women. So I'm going to start this with some love.
Black man, I want you to know that you're the man. Black man, there's no one in this world better than you.
Okay. Now let's get into it. Let's get into some of the stuff being said by the voters as far as
I'm thinking about the people who are.
Hold on, y'all. Hold on. Let me. What is this? All right, I'm gonna start with this right here.
People across the country have reportedly been sent alarming text messages with heavy offensive racial tones. Several law enforcement agencies across the metro say they're aware and are on alert. Fox 5's Eric Perry talked to several people who received the messages and has the latest. I've seen people post about it on their social media pages.
Yeah, it's going across the country.
Yeah.
We do want to warn you that some of this is extremely topic and sensitive here. The message is telling those they are required to report to a plantation to pick cotton or they will be whipped.
Now, I'm not going to play the rest of this video, but have any of y'all received a text or anything of this type? Have anybody told you to report for slavery? Have anybody told you that you had to report to a plantation to pick cotton? I haven't seen it. Immediately they said this was happening. I saw I had a local alert here in Washington, and they said that people were receiving these texts and these text messages. And I agree with Keith. I think it's just a hoax or some trolls. There may be some trolls because I saw across certain platforms online, you had some of these dudes with with platforms trolling women with that quote, "Your body, my choice." So I wouldn't be surprised if just another example of them just trolling in the situation. Regina says hoax either by the Dems or maybe the CIA, FBI. Brady said, who has the ability to send mass text? Case that's a good point. Might be a false flag to know to create more division and cause people to have more fear. They got to stoke more fear in the population. Brady said, niggas don't. All right, let's move on to some of the stuff said and some of the reactions. Let's get to it. I got to start with Van Jones and his yearly, or not even yearly at this point, consistent cry or attempted cry, where he went on a whole soliloquy about, black women when people pointed out, you with a white woman, dog.
I'm thinking about the people who are not a part of anybody's elite who are hurting tonight. There are African-American women who know a little bit about being talked down to and know a little bit about having their economic.
He said, no one is I know is received have received that is fake. Juicy Smollett, LOL.
Dreams crushed, who tried to dream a big dream over the past couple of months. And tonight they're trading in a lot of hope for a lot of hurt. And they were hoping that maybe this time, one of their own could be seen as worthy. And once again, they're facing rejection. And that hurts.
And this is what I want to say. Now, when I say this, I'm not speaking about all black women, obviously. But some of the reactions I saw and the level of pain, for some reason, that people had over this election, and I know it's not policy-based. I know it's not based off of what you desired as far as that. It was completely emotional. I was going to name this live stream, Donald Trump defeats Kamala Harris, saving black women from themselves. And I'm about to make a point. Across social media leading into this election, I saw black women, whether it be real life or online, talking a certain way, carrying themselves a certain way. I saw people talking so crazy to strangers. I saw a woman in a video who was talking to a man who I guess was voting for Trump. And she was saying stuff to this man, like, we in power now, yada, yada. She was talking real spicy. And I said to myself, if Kamala gets in office, there are going to be some black women that are going to carry that, I guess you would say, pride in a so-called, quote-unquote, black woman being the president, that they're going to become a danger to themselves in public with how they're going to speak to people. I noticed when Van Jones made those comments about black women feeling rejected. And I know in America, may not be a thing for most, but they're in America because of media and all this other stuff. Black women are painted a certain way to society. And I know a lot of women, when this vote came in, they did feel rejection by society. But if she would have won, I'm telling you, it would have been more people being put in danger because of because of how some of these women were carrying themselves. Because you have this idea that men are supposed to protect women, and in public, when something happens, you're supposed to step in and help. There would have been situations where some of them would have been talking crazy. Somebody would have reacted, and somebody else would have been expected to step in. And that would have led to more black men in jail, dead. I think that our community was saved from itself by Kamala not winning. It would have been I think it would have led to a lot of bad things, just on a social level, just in communities, walking around the cities across this country. It just would not have ended well in a lot of scenarios. Keeper says, cry baby, so sick of hearing these soft-ass men in media. Keeper says, the black lady attacked by an 80-year-old white lady in Edmonds, all because she was holding a vote for Trump sign. Yeah, I think what you're seeing, the reaction for people who are angry at the people that vote for Trump, I think if Kamala won, you would have saw people attacking people for simply saying they didn't want to vote for her. Even if she would have won, I think our community was saved from itself. Not just if you believe and the policy or whatever you think Trump's going to do as far as immigration and all that stuff, but just from a standpoint of just people, society, I think it would have led something bad. Brittany says they want your vote, not your problems. Yeah, it wouldn't have been a good thing. Anyway, let me go through some of this other stuff. Let me run through this. What they're saying, the people, the women on social media.
All you Latinos that voted for Trump, I hope he mass deports you and your entire family. Whether you were here legally or not, you gotta go. I hope he does that. To you black men who your fragile ego couldn't take a black woman in office, so you either voted for Trump or you didn't vote at all, the police will now have carte blanche to murder you right where the fuck you stand.
Keep in mind that every black American in this country voted for Kamala, and those said she would still have lost. She got 80% of the black male vote. That's like, like I don't understand. During the 2020, during Kamala Harris's 2020 campaign, more black men supported her than black women. That's a fact.
And when they do that, there's not going to be no GoFundMes. Don't ask your family to ask us for shit. Just die. They can't afford to bury you. Dig a hole in their backyard. It is what the fuck it is. But don't expect sympathy. Don't expect protest in the streets. We're not doing that. Black women, we're done. We're done. We did our due diligence for this century and the next. We've done enough. We're not doing anymore. You
know what's funny is I realized people got it misconstrued. During the 2020 protest with George Floyd, when they did a survey, I guess, of who was out there protesting, the number one demographic that protested during the 2020 George Floyd protest was white women. Then black men, then black women. And the amount of black people in general that was out there was not that high. Majority of the people that was out there during those protests, I know y'all remember the people wearing the mask and the all black, throwing stuff into windows, setting fires. That was white people. So this whole standing on the front, and I don't want to get into it, but all we got out of 2020 protest was twerk videos and people twerking on cops and shit. Like, what we talking about? This whole standing in the front line shit we gotta end this noise, honestly. Virginia says it's crazy that Americans fight each other over actual people impacting their lives, i.e. government. Well, that's the thing. And I said this, that I think a lot of black women, unfortunately, saw Kamala Harris's rise to presidency as a chance at a rise in status for black women in America. But there's a lot of competing amongst the black community, amongst the genders. So it's looked at like, y'all got a black president, talking about Obama, so we want one. So there's a lot of PR they thought they would gain with a Kamala Harris's presidency. The problem is, after this election, this whole idea of people of other races, amongst the Democratic Party at least, feeling like they had to politically kiss black women's asses is over. Whether it's Hispanic women, men, white women, all these demographics are looking at, because they're the ones lashing out the hardest, them and gay men, obviously. And obviously that's white women who are the fake tears around the eye. Oh, we voted for Trump, even though a lot of them, most of their family voted for Trump. This is not a good look if you're talking about politically building a coalition with other demographics, because you're coming out and you're telling every other demographic, I hope the worst happens to you. And you're saying it loudly in front of everyone. And hey, stand on it. We can, if you really want to build within a community, cool. If you're not worried about outside people, all right. But if you talk about in the next 4 years or 4 years, because you got the midterms in 2026, if you're talking about building a coalition of other demographics and you're talking to them this way when they don't do what you want them to do, you're not going to have their support ever. So, and like I said, this goes back to that idea of rejection. A lot of black women, unfortunately, feel like people not voting for Kamala was them rejecting black women as a whole in America. And so the lady in orange said Trump won't exist beyond, The lady in orange said that Trump won't exist beyond the first year. That detail is interesting. Yeah, I see a lot of people saying the same thing that we were saying about Biden, that Kamala Harris would have been president within 2 years, but they decided to hold him off until the last hour, the final hours. I don't see that with Trump. I wouldn't be surprised. But I think Trump serves out his full term, and J.D. Vance is the candidate, more than likely. Mark Gordon says black male vote was higher than everyone else except black women. Yeah, they don't care. Because once again, this is not black women. These are your, I don't know, I don't know what demographic to call them, because not all of them are college educated. Not all of them are part of any sorority or anything. Not all of them are care about politics that much. It was strictly about just her. But those people, they were never going to not blame black men. That was always going to be a thing. They did it all the way through the campaigning. They were always going to blame you in the end. Brilliant says, can you imagine being married to someone like that? Well, I'm glad you said that. Let me finish playing this.
To you white women that once again voted against your fucking interests, when your husband start knocking you into the middle of fucking next week and you can't do anything about it because no fault divorce is in play, I want you to take those black eyes and those busted lips as a personal thank you from Donald J. Trump each and every time you get fucking hit.
During the campaign, I didn't know this because I don't see these ads because I don't watch television. I'll be on social media, or not social media, but on YouTube and stuff, streaming platforms. I don't see these ads. But during the ad, you had the Democratic Party pushing the notion that white women should vote for Kamala Harris, and don't worry, your husband won't find out. And then I see her making the argument when she says this, that white women only voted for Trump because of their husband. And I just thought the fact that one of your campaign pushes is to convince a woman to go against the wishes of her household in order to be selfish. It just showed that they don't really respect family in the Democratic Party. They don't respect marriage and the idea of the household, the patriarchal household. They don't respect it at all. So it's not a shock that you lost more of those women and those younger men. Because she brought up no-fault divorce. As I said before, I'll keep saying it. White people are trying to get their numbers back up. We got to stop y'all from divorcing because you got mad one time and you're bored, or you don't feel fulfilled in something else, or you decide to divorce your husband and leave your family, or not have as many kids as possible because you want to have certain options. Everything about the platform of the Republicans, for the most part at least, is about family structure and building it. It's the opposite for the other side. And they don't even see how that doesn't resonate with majority of the population. She lost the popular vote. You have to see that. Kiva said, Looney Tunes, these people should be blocked on all social media platforms. Kiva says that she looked like she has 5 cats. If Kevin Seniors was here today, he'd be having a field day. Oh, man. Oh, it'd be bad. Mark said, this is a tough lesson. Sorry, hold on. This is a tough lesson for some black women. We are all we got, like our ancestors said. I saw one black woman on social media say, I trust that white women learn a lesson for Trump. It's the black men I'm worried about. This is before the election. This was back in like June, July. And I said, man, this brings me back to Gloria. What's her name? Is it Gloria Allred? I can't remember her name right now. And Michelle Wallace. And all that gender intersectionality and, color, all that type of stuff. How they still don't see how the white woman has yet to go against her men. She never goes against him. She tell you and push certain ideologies on you, and then she do the opposite. It's just crazy. They've got Charleston White now. Her big back, respectfully brilliant. People says, LOL, Empress, he definitely works. No tact and doesn't give constructive criticism. KD says, the lady is crazy. She's not speaking for me. I'm with the black men. My father and son are black men. That's what I'm saying. It's a particular demographic that's pushing this idea, this idea. Because now you got them saying not to have sex until for the next 4 years since they voted for Trump. Facts and the same. She's speaking for herself. Mark Gordon says, white America hasn't voted majority Democrat since 1965. Exactly. You need the quote-unquote black, brown. You need a minority vote, which is funny because they're not really minority, but you need the minorities to vote at an all-time high in order to beat the white vote. Gloria Steinem. Thank you, Regina. Thank you. Gloria Steinem, what she did to the female population, and how much in these college campuses and this women's studies and all this stuff, how much these women have been convinced that it's gender over race. And white women consistently show you it's race over gender. It's just crazy. Anyway.
Take it. Don't look for nobody else. Don't ask for fucking help. Take your beatings. For all of y'all that voted for Trump, I hope you get exactly what you voted for.
That's what she had to say. Let me move forward now.
I'm going to get drunk today, and I'm going to act like an angry black fucking woman, because I'm fucking angry! I'm mad! I'm upset! I'm angry as fuck, bro. I'm angry. I'm hurt. My feelings are fucking hurt. We always finish last. We always come fucking last to everybody, even our own fucking men.
See, that's the rejection. That's the rejection I'm talking about.
And you niggas mamas be black. This shit is crazy. Y'all got black ass daughters. I'm angry as fuck. I'm gonna get drunk and cause a problem.
Kira says she needs medication. I think a significant portion of the population suffers from these type of mental issues. I don't think this is just black women or in general, but I think in general, we saw coming out of COVID, and we've said this before, y'all have thought this as well. Coming out of COVID, everybody and their mama said, wait, what's wrong with people? Like something's wrong with people. And I think it's because during the COVID lockdowns, for some at least, they were locked down and they couldn't go out as much. People lost the ability to blend into normal society. So now people are showing more of the cracks they have in their personality, especially with social media becoming even bigger after that. So people just can't act, quote unquote, normal anymore. People are now showing more cracks in their personality and stuff, and you're seeing the majority of the population. That's why every time you look, there's all type of therapy ads all over the place. You go on any social media platform, whether it's YouTube, streaming platforms, social media, little small ads on the side. There's therapy ads everywhere because they know people need it. But Keeper says she needs some milk. And Brady says we weren't that angry about nothing else. A lot of these folks need therapy. Mark Golden says I would DM you a video of Dr. Curry talking about the beginning of the feminism and how white women actually started patriarchy. Yeah. Patriarchy was to defend white women. The whole idea of a white man or white men, a group of white men going into another communities and burning it down because a white woman said something happened to her is completely based off of putting the woman on the pedestal. A man's risking his life and freedom to defend a woman is that's patriarchy. That's to benefit the woman, which is why white women are not against patriarchy. They just want to get more equal footing with white men. They beef in our beef, but unfortunately, it became that. Grace said, Lord. Brayden says, a bunch of grown children masquerading as adults. Yeah. And they're having mental breakdowns over this. It's crazy.
Y'all are cowards. Y'all are cowards. Black women that are sitting up out here, going to fucking Starbucks, black queer people that are going to Starbucks, going to McDonald's, y'all are cowards. Because there's no fucking way you can look me in my eyes right now and look around and say, this is a white supremacist country, a racist country. And the first thing you do is participate and uphold that fucking white supremacy. You uphold that racism. Instead of saying, fuck, we have white supremacist fascism on the way. We need an anti-fascist movement, a well-organized.
I was watching Roland Martin. I went back and watched Roland Martin's live stream on election night. How at the beginning of it, they were very, optimistic that Kamala would win. And how as time went on, about an hour, 2 hours into this, how often they mentioned white supremacy. And I'm not saying that's that thing that doesn't exist. I always say white supremacy is protection of yourself. It's just people protecting and making sure that their community or their nation continues to grow and move forward. Everybody should have a supremacist mindset towards their nation. But how often they kept mentioning it in the standpoint of the only reason why she's not going to win is because of that. I just thought, well, that's a thing, but you can't ignore these other things. Economy, immigration are big deals. Trump told you what he was going to do. She told you, or she showed you what she was going to do with the whole last 3 years of their administration. They voted another way for a reason. The bonnet is a flag.
Anti-fascist movement. Y'all decide to participate in the fucking fascism.
Donald Trump is president, and I think all women should stop having sex for the next 4 years in protest and protection of your bodies. As we know, if that little baby inside you gives you any trouble and you need an emergency health care, you're fucked and you're gonna die. I think that is sufficient enough reason to stop having sex. Don't you agree? This vote wasn't a vote for Americans. This vote was for men.
I think she has to be trolling. And it's two reasons she got to be trolling. Because she got on camera like this and told the world, told all the women to not have sex with the men. I'm not going any further because that'd be mean, but, you know. He says, oh, Lord, that scared me.
Unless we want to become the handmaid's tale, then us women need to protest because this is some buttery bullshit. I'm sorry to the women and minorities who aren't going to get the help that they need in the next 4 years. I'm sorry for the people who are impoverished who are just going to keep.
Virginia says, could most of these content creators be trolling? I believe she has to be. She has to be. I saw people on social media saying, hey, women, because they voted for Trump for the next 4 years, don't have sex with a man you don't know. I said, wait. Weren't you already supposed to be doing that? Don't have sex with a man who don't have your best interest. Like, weren't you already supposed to have been doing that? Like, it really showed, and I hate to say it this way, there's a whore culture in America. And what these women are pretty much online saying was, hey, for the next 4 years, as a protest, don't be whores. It's like, oh, okay. Kiva says she's too close to the camera. I've seen her before. She's not trolling. Oh, Lord. Mark says, now I'm hearing that from some conservatives on Twitter that the first woman president will be Republican. I don't think they will be regardless of party affiliation. Well, if you go down the list of first woman, most things in government, it was a woman. Even when you talk, cause now that you have the women complaining about no-fault divorce being a thing that's getting rid of because they want people to stay married and only get a divorce if there's a quote-unquote real reason. But the reason why they even brought that into place, a woman being able to get married because of irreconcilable differences, that was Republicans that passed that law. It was Republicans that said, hey, if you want to get divorced because y'all just don't get along, that was, you know.
Oh, and to the black men who took their narrow-head asses in them polls and voted for...
Bree says they've convinced black women that killing a baby is proper health care. Abortion is the only health care that is 100% mortality rate. The fact that Beyonce got on stage at a rally that Kamala Harris pretty much based on, in Texas based on abortion, and said as a mother, it was kind of, I didn't get it. You come up here and said you're here as a mother, but the platform she's speaking on is abortion. It's crazy.
When the police got your ass in the motherfucking chokehold, don't you come calling black women. Don't you come calling us to come march for your ass. I'm not making no BLM Psalms. None of that. I'm not resharing nothing. It's an article, not resharing it. I don't even care if I know you. I'm not resharing it. You don't deserve our help. Like, seriously. I even seen one of them say, y'all really thought we was gonna let a bitch run this country? I know, right? Sounds a little harsh, right? Came from one of your little black men. Them same ones that's always crying, talking about police always locking us up for dumb shit, but they don't ever get the white people, and they don't never do this, and they don't never do that. And guess what, baby? They're gonna be locking y'all ass up more now. And guess what? For the dumbest shit. Oh, and guess what? You're not gonna be getting any help.
I will say this too, because during all this backlash of them having these mental breakdowns on social media, they've shown their God complex that they've been given by the Democratic Party. Because the Democratic Party has been selling this backbone of the party, they're going to save America, they have to save the world. They've grown to have this God complex that they really, they think some of these people believe that their impact is anything that happens is solely because of them. It's just them. It ain't nobody else's participation, nobody else's influence. It's just them. And that's a bad mindset to have because of politics, the Democratic Party. Katie says, these women are ridiculous. I honestly do not know any woman that think like them. Well, like I said, this is a demographic that most of these in public wouldn't talk like this because everybody would look at them like they're crazy. But online, people speak this way and they're able to find their tribe because people that think like them will hit the like button or go into the comment section and agree. Virginia says, Hollywood entertainment business is dead. These folks are acting. Kiva says, are you going to show all the ugly ones shaving their heads and threatening to withhold sex too. Now I'm not gonna go too far into it. I just want to make a point with the other woman, but I'm not gonna show all of it. Breonna says they know Trump was president before and everything was okay. That's the part that's confusing to me. He was already in there. And y'all protested every single day of his presidency, and nothing changed for everything remained America. It did what America did what America does. It's just, I don't get it. Margot said these things are for a reason. I think the Most High is getting us ready. Yeah, I saw someone say that this is the death of the Rainbow Coalition. This is the death of the black and brown bullshit. And this should, in a few months at least, get rid of the gender wars. Because now that you see that other demographics are going to do what's best for them, you have to be willing to do what's best for yours. And so hopefully in a few months, they'll get over it and get on board.
Really quickly, too. Democrats need to be mature, and they need to be honest. And they need to say, yes, there's misogyny. But it's not just misogyny from white men. Mm-hmm. It's misogyny from Hispanic men. Right. It's misogyny from black men, things we've all been talking about, who do not want a woman leading them. Might be race issues with Hispanics. They don't want a black woman as president of the United States. You know, the Democratic Party, I've always found when you're sitting around talking, they love to just sort of balkanize everybody into these separate groups and say, oh, white people don't like women and black people. No, it is time for the Democrats to say, okay, and you and I have talked about this before, a lot of Hispanic voters have problems with black candidates.
Right.
A lot
and
of,
with other Hispanics. You got some that don't like each other. And some of the most misogynist things I've heard going on this Get Out the Vote tour came from black men. I mean, misogynist things. So you're absolutely right. It's not simplistic.
So you lost the popular vote, and you still haven't learned your lesson. You're still doing the identity politics. You're still doing the identity politics, even though you lost the majority vote. Let me show this one right here.
Billy, it is what it is. Trump won.
Ray said that girl wouldn't hold sex. Nobody smashed her. Ray says Al need to lay off the Ozempic. Man, Al might got that package. I hope he ain't got that as I die slow.
Fair and square. Motherfuckers, 15 million motherfuckers stayed home who voted in the last election. So it is what it is. So I'm going to sit back with my popcorn and I'm going to watch this crazy motherfucker say what the fuck he want to say. Do what he want to do. He's got full immunity. He might go out just like he said before. He's going to shoot a motherfucker on Madison Avenue and not go to jail because he can't go to jail.
Fifth Avenue.
I'm looking forward to all these 12% of black men who voted for this psycho motherfucker. I sat home. I'm looking forward to them get their ass lynched by the police officers. I'm not going to fucking protest under no circumstance at all. So I'm sitting my ass back with my.
But how does this process make sense? What if a dude who voted for Kamala gets killed by police, but you're mad at the smaller percentage that didn't vote for Kamala, so you're not going to protest for him? If it's so impactful, you're doing all this protesting, but they're still getting killed. How do you solve that problem? What if the dude that got killed is actually a Kamala supporter?
My popcorn and the Department of Education, they're going to turn public schools into third world countries where the degenerates are now going to go to those schools, you know, guys with 1.1 average, gang rapers and all that shit that's going to be in the public schools from now. So y'all better start getting your kids in charter schools and private schools right now because that shit finna turn crazy because the Department of Education is going to be over. So I'm looking forward to this shit. Everybody who voted for this fucking clown, y'all gonna get what you asked for.
Virginia says, Luke, Charlamagne, Stephen A. are all flipping, flopping now. Checks must have been huge. Yes, Charlamagne immediately came out and said something I agree with when he said, wait, I thought Donald Trump was Hitler and a fascist and he's going to end democracy. Yet you conceded your loss gracefully. If he's so bad, why are you not raising hell right now? You should be fighting tooth and nail with courts, all type of things. You should be galvanizing the entire audience, trying to convince entire country, convincing them that this man is literally Hitler. But you just conceded and said congratulations. So clearly that was not what you really thought. Mark says talking about lynching is never funny, and he wants to claim he's black. Exactly. Which I saw him on social media when he said, "I'm not talking politics no more. I'm cooling." It's like, we know you didn't. You only talk politics because they gave you a few dollars. Like the second this campaign was over anyway, you was gonna move on with your life. He says, "I promise you, it's not that as serious as making it out to be." It's not at all. They doing way too much, but once again, it's just they gotta react this way for a reason. I was shocked at this right here. I was shocked at what David Banner
say this.
This idea that black people are becoming extreme right wing. But the funny part is black people historically, as we always say, were conservative. Like religion is a part of the culture. Now, whether or not you believe in the religion or you think it was used to control the population, that's another thing, but it is cultural. Mark says that they didn't come here to fight. If we're about fighting, they would help their family and relatives in their home country. Yeah, facts. All right, got a few more left. I'm gonna show this one right here since she was talking more positive. Let me show a little bit of this. I'm not gonna show the whole thing. Let me show a little bit of this one.
Scrolling, and I see a lot of black women making videos talking down to black men who voted for Trump. And I just have to say, if you voted for Trump and you're a black man, thank you. And I thank you because I know exactly why you voted for Trump. You voted for secure borders so that us women and children can be safe. You voted for a strong economy so that us women and children can be provided for. You voted for our children to not be indoctrinated in this failed public school system. You voted for my right to not have to use the bathroom with a biological man. You also voted for our children not to be drafted into another endless, senseless war that only benefits the military-industrial complex. And also, you voted for the protection of our freedom of speech. The same freedom of speech that these evil, nasty, disgusting women are using to wish death upon you. So as a black woman, I just want to say thank you for voting for Trump. I truly appreciate you, and I'm going to speak life into you. I pray that God continues to protect you and guide you. I pray that he gives you the success that you deserve. I pray that he gives you the strength to lead your family and your communities. And for anyone who wants to say in the comments that I'm a pick-me, baby, I'm already chosen. So what about you? It's Trump 2024. You already know. Thank you. So I'm scrolling and I see a lot of black women making videos.
This a PSA.
Yeah, so I had to play that one. And I'll just play a little couple seconds.
Black man.
All right, where he says, told my wife, black people have adopted our oppressors mentality. Remember, we didn't give a fuck about politics. That too. Yeah, that was a politics were not most center thing in our community, but it's become important since Obama came in. People says this is a good video, a breath of fresh air from all the nut jobs. Brings said chocolate, beautiful and intelligent. You look forward to words out of my mouth. Great counsel. Damn. All right, now I gotta show this one. This brother right here talked about that 40 M's y'all brought up earlier with black women giving her $40 million. Mark says, how does Trump securing borders and giving police immunity prevent racial profiling? Well, see, that's it really doesn't. But you can't expect the president to you can't get rid of racism. So it is what it is. Now, immunity is already a thing. I talked about that earlier. That was Clyburn who tanked a bill that would have gotten rid of it. That was Clyburn who did a favor for Joe Biden. Let me show this though.
This a PSA to every black woman that raised that fucking money for Kamala. You raised $40 million in one motherfucking night for a campaign for concerts and fucking speeches. You motherfuckers are dumb. You think I'm about to fucking vote with y'all? You spent $40 million on concerts. You stupid motherfuckers. I tried to say this without cussing you dumb motherfuckers out. It don't work. And I'm not about to sit there and keep biting my lip. We too damn close to the election. You raised $40 million in one night for this motherfucker. And you got a fucking concert and a fucking Beyonce speech. And you happy with that. These the same motherfuckers that pay $1,000 for a fucking picture with Chris Brown. You think I'm voting for you? You think I'm voting with you? You gotta be the dumbest motherfucker that ever walked this planet. You just threw my motherfucking money away to people that's already fucking rich. This a
Brother had to tell him how he really feel. Oh, Lord. With a magic wand. Virginia said, dude, by the way, your thumbnail is hilarious. Maybe she never wanted to be president in the first place. I do think she was, you can listen to her interviews and what she did do the whole debate. She, other than that one debate with Trump, she did seem like she wasn't as, she didn't seem as confident. I'll say that. I don't say stop watching Black Women's Money. I don't know. 40 million without seeing a policy, nothing. 40 million out the gate. That was crazy. Margot said the Negro is yelling louder than Samuel L. Jackson. Apparently his videos are, he does that in all his videos. That's his shit. That's his thing that he does. He does these yelling videos. But yeah, he got his point across, I guess. All right, last couple of things I'm gonna show. We're gonna get up out of here. I want to show this. They taking down Kamala's mural in Atlanta.
You gotta see me that one.
My girl just lost a day ago.
Brent said, yeah, what the fuck is Travis? That nigga baking the longest batch of Oh, Lord.
You gotta see me that one.
My girl just lost a day ago. Like, damn.
Got up out of there as soon as they had a chance, didn't he? I'm wondering why she have a mural in Atlanta. That was, I don't get that, but you know. Let's see. Run through some more stuff. Get up out of here. Pelosi says election could have been different if Biden stepped aside as deals pile on. We already talked about this before. They now kicking each other back in, blaming each other. Arnold said that image of her husband cry and the son cry is hilarious. Jace thought they was about to be in the White House.
They also dragged the shit out of me for being a Democratic shield. I think all I'm saying is
people are nuts.
But I can't keep saying everybody's nuts.
They're nuts if they're saying you're a shield for the Democrats.
But I think, Tiff, that's their perspective. Yeah. Literally, like we're in a place now where this shit is so narrowed down and so refined and so like we're not engaging people anymore.
I don't receive that.
It's true. Like, look at the numbers.
But let me give a congratulations to Angela Rye. That's called self-reflection. I congratulate for her for that because I was shocked. I was shocked that she's the one that said this. She basically said, we can't just keep calling people nuts and stupid. At some point, we got to listen to this perspective and talk to certain people. Like I see people on social media right now going at the people who they say only uneducated voters voted for Trump. And it's like, well, just because you got a college degree don't mean you're intelligent. It don't even mean you're educated, really. But the fact that she was willing to say, I can't keep saying that, at some point we have to talk to people. Congratulations to her. People said, you are a shield. What the fuck? Listens to, people says no one wants to talk to her because she's a crybaby. Yeah, she about to cry right there, though. Let me see. Oh, yeah. Your boy Plies, who did all that stomping, all that disrespect he did for Kamala. And then he made that video, that super video, him faking like he wanted to give people hugs. The second that election was over, this came out. Plies sues Meg Thee Stallion, Glorilla, Cardi B over unauthorized wannabe sample. I just thought, damn, that's everybody who was on the campaign trail with Kamala Harris. So the second that campaign ended and the checks was over, he got straight to the lawsuits. Since I hate Angela, let this be the end of her. The way they spoke down to the community, it was crazy. That's what I'm saying. I think maybe it's a pivot. It's a chance to try and pivot, I guess, because you lost to Trump again. The black vote didn't turn out again. And you couldn't do what you did in 2020 when you magically got 81 million votes. So I think they're trying to pivot at this point. People said she's not going to change. And maybe hey, money changes people. If she can pivot and make money on the other side, she'll do it. Brayden says remove the lies, the P, Flies. Flies needs his T levels checked. So now he's suing people for using his sample, even though it's not his original sample. So people immediately said the check's running out, so now he got to find a way to make his money. But everybody he's going after, not everybody, but 4 to 5 people he's going after is Kamala people. So it's kind of funny. Now I'm gonna play where Roland Martin got into an argument with one of his co-hosts about the messaging of the Democratic Party.
We're going to separate these consultants by saying, oh, they have ignored the working class. Their agenda didn't ignore the working class.
He mentioned the wealth gap in this country, which is extremely sizable and something that rarely comes up unless he's talking.
But the policies of Biden-Harris actually addressed.
And it's funny because the woman right here in the red, I watched the election night live stream back after the election. And she, towards the end of the live stream, when it was obvious that she was going to lose, she's the only one that began to make sense. She said, the Trump campaign put out an ad, put allegedly over $100 million into an ad campaign about transgenderism, where he said that Kamala Harris is trying to fund prisoners to get surgery, gender surgery. And they made an ad that included Charlamagne the God where it said, Kamala is for they, them, Trump is for you. I said, that shit hit. It hit. And so she made the point, the woman in the red here, she made the point during the live stream that, hey, why didn't Kamala's team say something back? You have to say something. Because they didn't say anything back to that because they couldn't. Because they're saying that the thing that allowed prisoners to get this gender surgery was under Trump. So if they come out and say, no, that's a Trump thing, that's not us, then they're now saying that, oh, do you support it or not? Do you give them credit to Trump for doing that from your progressive base? And if you say that we did do it and we do support it, now you're leaning into what Trump is saying about you in the ad. So they were stuck. So the other woman on the show, she said, well, we shouldn't focus on that less than 1% of the population. Why are we making them such a big part of the platform? So the woman in the red here, she's the only one that was saying stuff that was real. Like she kept saying the economy, immigration. Why is she not focused on this stuff? Why is she focused on abortion and transgender and LGBTQ stuff? She's like, what are you doing? Virginia says the one in the red used to act similar to Angela Rye. She's older, tired, and has calmed down. Well, she was making sense that night, and maybe it was the effects of the loss where she just immediately went to thinking, what could we have done to win rather than what she agreed with?
The wage of workers.
Her primary message was democracy, the threat of Donald Trump. Her primary message was abortion, the threat of democracy, and the craziness of Donald Trump. There's nothing wrong with that message. I don't have any problem with that. What I'm saying to you, though, is that
but she also talked about housing.
That never gets had, and it's still not getting had. I mean, anytime anybody brings this up, it's like nobody can talk, right? When we talk about poverty or homelessness or 40 million people in poverty, like nobody wants to hear that.
Well, first of all, I don't know who nobody is. I don't know who nobody is when we talk about it. But the point I'm making is with Sanders keeps saying they are being ignored. Now, if Sanders is saying that we're not messaging to workers, okay, but to say that Democrats are ignoring the working class, if I look at actual policies over the last 4 years, that's actually a lie.
Nina Turner tried to run, remember, for Marsha Fudge's seat. Who did she get blocked by? She got blocked by...
Shout out to Nina Turner. Al Pac got her up out of here along with a lot of them, but shout out to her.
The leadership of the Democratic Party.
Nina Turner got blocked by... She got blocked by voters in the district.
Is a disciple of Bernie Sanders, and the Democratic Party doesn't want to hear that message. I mean, I'm not saying they're wrong.
No, she got blocked by the voters in the district.
No. Yeah, she got blocked by the Democratic Party.
Okay, no. First of all, let's be clear. She ran, 2 or 3 times? Okay?
Yeah.
And let's be clear, the first time she also outraged folks. But I'm still dealing with Sanders here. Again, is the question...
Bush and Summerlee and Jamal Bowman, nobody stands up for them. Nobody says anything. When they talk about populist stuff, nobody wants to hear it. When I say nobody, I say the leadership in the Democratic Party.
Okay, specify then. Don't say nobody.
Nobody
that's
says
not true.
Anything. Okay.
No. Don't say nobody.
Like they're outcasts. They're rebels. They're problematic. You know, I'm telling you, Roland, I know that Bernie Sanders is not the right messenger. I'm not disagreeing with that. But what I am saying is that there are certain topics that when they come up, there are Democrats in the leadership that really just don't want to hear it.
And what I'm saying is
Vice President Harris's primary message, no problem, was on abortion, was on democracy, no problem, was on Trump being dangerous, no problem. That her primary message was those things. But what people want to hear about is the economy and, of course, jobs.
And what I'm saying is, if you're Sanders, be specific. When I read Niambi, Democrats ignore the working class, and I look at actual policy, that's not true. Now, if you're...
They don't message it, Roland.
Okay, hold on. And what I'm saying...
He's defending his sorority sister. Mark Gordon said, talking over people and talking to people are two different things. Roland should know this. He knows. He's trying to control the narrative around the campaign. Because now you'll notice that you keep seeing the words on, whether it's on these network shows or these articles written, they keep using the word flawless, that Kamala ran a flawless campaign. It's all propaganda to convince you that she didn't lose because she ran a poor campaign. It's because the voters are racist, misogynist, or anything like that. They don't want to admit that she just didn't run a good campaign.
No, and what I'm saying, Lauren, messaging, no, Lauren, messaging and ignoring are two separate things.
So why are they not messaging that? They have done a lot of things. Why
And what
are
I'm
they
saying,
messaging it?
and again, what I'm saying is there's a difference between when somebody says ignore, that means you're actually doing nothing. Niambi, when I look at actual policies, the policies are there. Now, if you're saying that that should be the primary message, it's a different conversation. And this is where Sanders gets criticized because he's constantly saying Democrats are doing nothing for the working class, and then people go, this.
Craig says, a fat boy better crash out with the Democrats. Virginia says, Roland is often rude and crude, especially if the conservative is present. Yeah, they're not open to other ways of thinking. So
I think,
and which is why they will lose for the next couple of elections. They will not grow their base again. They lost a younger audience who are only going to get 4 years older from now. That don't mean they're going to change their views on things. You know, as they say, as you get older, you become more conservative. So if you're losing or you lost a chunk of the young vote who are only going to get older, I mean, it's not looking good for you. You need a star. You need a star candidate.
In a normal country, we would say, hold on a second, maybe we need to have a different set of
Oh, this was Van Jones asking for regulated social media.
regulations for social media platforms now that this big.
It would help if we could regulate social media, because one of the biggest offenders is D.C. and Congress have not been able to do one thing in regard to the rogue corporations of social media.
It's so crazy how we saw in 2020, we saw Facebook, Instagram, Twitter with Jack Dorsey there, and all these other platforms block the Hunter Biden laptop story. Flat out blocked it, banned people. YouTube, if you posted about it, it would flag your channel and all this other stuff. Only now that Elon Musk bought Twitter, and he still allow you to say what you want to say, but he's clearly pro-Trump. Now you see how corporations being a part of the politics ain't a good thing. Now you see it.
And then moves them through YouTube videos, through podcasts, moves them from that annoyance all the way slowly to a full-blown fascist politics. We don't have the equivalent of Joe Rogan and Jordan Peterson to move that man in a feminist direction.
Joe Rogan was a leftist. Joe Rogan was a hippie leftist who became what y'all would call radicalized when y'all started demonizing him during COVID, when y'all got mad at him for saying something about ivermectin and all the other stuff. It was then that he started going more right-wing and on certain topics. He was a left-wing hippie dude.
Go fuck yourself. Is that clear? I hope it is.
I think.
Yeah, so when Keeper says that they'll rig it to benefit themselves. Yeah, so when it was on their side, they just didn't care. Trump tried to get social media regulated then, and they denied it. They didn't want it. They said he was trying to control social media and stuff. Now you see why you don't want social media to have such a big influence when it doesn't benefit you. Anyway, let me show this final video right here.
But I want to know how it is you voted for Donald Trump when you're so into facts, because his entire campaign is not based in facts. It was all based in propaganda and emotion.
I voted for Donald Trump for one reason only. His policies, if implemented, would slow the dispossession of whites in the United States. If he were to deport all illegal immigrants, if he were to think very hard about letting in any Muslims, all of this would slow the rate at which whites are becoming a minority.
Why are you so worried about the white dispossession of America?
Because I want my people to survive.
What? Like, that's basic white supremacy. I just want my people to survive. I want my people to be on top. I want to consistently be the top dog. Anybody who is against that for their own race is crazy.
Is that so strange? We don't control China. We don't control any place where whites are not a majority. And if we become a minority, we will not control our own destiny anymore.
I grew up in this country as a minority, as the children of immigrants. I was their first child born in America. And while I didn't have much possession or didn't much control, I really enjoyed myself. And I think that if you ask a lot of Americans, they would say that I had a lot to offer this country. You know, according to you, I guess I would be perpetuating the dispossession of white America.
That is true. That is true.
Would you say that you wouldn't want me in this country?
at some point, when my ancestors built this nation, they did not build it with the intention of giving it away to Mexicans or Chinese or Haitians or to anyone else.
Do you consider it, you keep saying your ancestors
I feel like he didn't say black because he don't see you as a threat.
just built this country. You consider that a fact?
Who else built it?
Black people, Native Americans, Chinese people who came and built the railroads.
Do you think none of that could have been
Italian
achieved?
people.
But they're Europeans, aren't they?
Marcus said, was your angel was crying? Yeah, crying again. Yeah, he did a little teardrop for black women especially. That's what his tears was mainly for this election. But yeah, man, Trump won. They mad. They'll get over in a few months. They saying he's the devil. He's Hitler. He's going to destroy this country so bad, and everybody's going to regret it. We're going to get shot in the streets, and nobody's going to do anything about it. But I don't think much is going to change at all. Virginia says, so is he black passing for white because his poll ain't built shit? His people ain't built shit. Well, that goes with the idea that I was talking about, why Trump is going after the education system, because in schools, their young men are reading different forms of history than he read when he was younger. When he was real younger, they read about Benjamin Franklin, Abraham Lincoln, and all these other people, and they learned how white people did all this, and that. We built the country. America, we were all for the free and everybody the brave, yada, yada, yada. And there was a certain level of pride and arrogance they would build up in their youth so that they would strive to keep building the nation up and making it better. In the last 30, 40 years or so, that's changed because in schools, they're learning more about the history of what they've done to other people. You know, raping and pillaging across the world, and the purposely doing certain things to put people at a disadvantage so that they can win. So it's like, well, we didn't really win. We kind of tricked people. You know what I mean? We didn't beat people fair and square. We did things. We lied. We backstabbed in order to gain an advantage. So it's not as much pride within their race. So it's leading to their young men not wanting to join the military, not having as much American pride, not striving to build that white prototypical American family, married couple, 2.5 kids or whatever. So they're trying to bring that back, man. Mark Gordon said Chinese built the railroads on the west of the U.S., not all of it, mostly black Americans, but the railroads, which is why I keep wondering why they keep saying they built the railroads when they know it wasn't all of them. Virginia says, according to I know why, because they're trying to take it, everybody trying to get their piece of the pie that is America. People of color built it in the gangs of New York, and the Pilgrims just landed and took over. Yeah, man, that's kind of the American story at this point. All right, let me move here. You got anything else? I think we good here. We can get up out of here. All right, man. I'm gonna let y'all get out of here now. We went through all of it. What we got? How much time we had? 2:34. That's good. 2.5 hours kept y'all here. Thank y'all for coming through. Appreciate the support. Sitting down, have a little conversation. Trump is back. President-elect Donald Trump. I think the Democratic Party are going to keep pushing the bull stuff they pushing now, which is angering the majority. But we'll see how the economy and stuff goes in the next 2 years if Trump implements the things he said he will with immigration. They said it'll cost a lot of money to do it, but if you can send billions to Israel and Ukraine, you can spend that billions doing what you said you would do in your campaign trail. But anyway, thank y'all for coming through. Appreciate the support. Thank you for have a good week. You too. Gina says everyone have a strong end to the week. Until Monday. Margo said the Empire strikes back. Exactly. They struck back definitely. But anyway, man, y'all be safe. All praise to the Most High. And peace, man. Zip it up and zip it out. Boots fight tonight. Oh yeah, Boots fight. Also, I saw what's his name? The buddy who the one that been going at Tank for a little while. Who want to fight? Got that knockout the other night. We're gonna see what happened with that too. But yeah, anyway, y'all be safe. All praise to the Most High. Bye.